On this computer. All right. Can everyone hear me okay? Excellent. How's everyone doing? Happy Monday. Oh my goodness. So many beautiful faces. It is Monday, April, what is it, 27th? I mean, I guess we don't really know what date it is really, but today is the 27th. And so thank you guys so much for coming on. My goodness, we have 41, 42, I think we almost just had, but so excited to see so many of you. And thank you so much for just taking time out of your schedule to come on and hop on this evening, on this Monday evening. I'm super excited for our guest speaker who's going to be talking to you guys in a moment. But before I introduce her, I wanted to just a couple quick announcements. So guys, it's still, we're close to the end of the month, but there's still plenty of time to reach your goals that you have for this month, to reach however many people you had set for yourself that you wanted to help, to reach your Success Club goals, as well as to reach that next rank advancement. There are many of you on here that are close to Emerald, close to Diamond, who are in Star Diamond qualification. And so again, you guys are doing such amazing work. And so yeah, so BOD groups just launched yesterday. So I don't know if, have all of you accessed BOD groups yet? If not, it's okay, because I haven't, so don't feel bad, but that's fine. I haven't even looked at it yet. But just so that you guys know, the My Challenge Tracker is now no longer available, okay? So that no longer exists. And you have to remove the app from your phone, the Beachbody On Demand app, and reapply it back on your phone for you to be able to access the BOD groups, okay? And then if you want to start your own BOD group, it all has to be started, and if you want to invite people, it has to be done from your computer, okay? So just know that. Similar to how My Challenge Tracker was for some of you who were using it. And so those of you who have downloaded it, obviously, it's a brand new technological product, so there will be some glitches in the beginning. So just having patience, for an understanding, as they are definitely working on it. So, bear mind, don't just have some patience and whatnot, because sometimes you can imagine transitioning something that big and all the big plans they have for this new platform. It's a really big undertaking. And so make sure that you are aware of that. Make sure that you have watched the National Wake Up Call earlier today. That was also a really good call. Remember, every Monday morning, the National Wake Up Call is available. Right now, the challenge packs on sale are the 10 rounds challenge pack, and I anticipate that will continue on into May. In May, we have our new Energize flavor coming out, so very excited about that. And so just make sure that you guys are starting to talk about that, gathering emails for that. Really important. Also, I wanted a quick reminder for those of you who are managing spouse accounts as well as your own. Remember that you do not have to have 90 PV on that other account. You just need 50 PV. So if you are, so just remember that. If you're right now under one account buying more than 90 PV worth of products, maybe try shuffling some of those products into the secondary account so that you can help maintain it to keep it active, but it just has to be 50 PV. So keep that in mind, okay? All right, guys. So I'm so very excited to welcome my very good friend, Miss Jen Casey. She is someone who, honestly, it's so funny, the people who are nearest and dearest to me, I've met all through social media. And actually, Jen and I met briefly, I would say, at a Tony Robbins event. I believe it was Date with Destiny, where we just kind of were in a similar circle. We really didn't talk really that much at that event. And it wasn't until we started, meeting more in smaller groups. And we have a sisterhood that we are both a part of, that we meet up quarterly. And so you guys may see me post about that on our social medias, but super very excited. She is very familiar with network marketing. She used to be involved, actually, and I'm sure she'll share that, but she used to be involved as a Beachbody coach several years ago. But she is a brain-based business and master NLP coach. She's also the creator of an amazing top program called Programs That Profit. and she is the host of a top-rated podcast called Inner Boss Podcast. So for those of you who love podcasts, this is another new beautiful person with great messaging who can really help you with your business to go and follow and listen to. So make sure that you send her some love on Instagram. If you want to tag her, she's at Hey Jen Casey. And so you can, go ahead and tag her and show her some love over there on Instagram. So Jen, thank you so very much. And I'm going to let you go ahead and take it away.
Oh my gosh. Well, thank you so much. I am super pumped to be here with you guys, and I'm just really grateful to see all of your beautiful faces. I got to kind of stalk some of you guys over on Instagram. Didn't follow you yet because you didn't want you guys to know. But we've got some really fun training tonight, and I've customized some stuff specifically for you guys based on some of the things that you've been sharing on Instagram. So today's training, let me just share my screen for you guys. So this training is all about how to get customers choosing you. Of course, you guys are in an industry where there are so many people selling the same or similar products. And I think one of the challenges and also one of the greatest opportunities is to really learn how to speak to the hearts, minds, and wallets of your dream people. And for you guys, that means your next Rockstar Challenger and your dream business builders. So I'm curious for you guys, on a scale from 1 to 10 right now in your business, how comfortable do you feel creating content? Like, let me know in the chat box. I just want to get a pulse on where you guys are at right now with your businesses. And when I say creating content, like 10 being, I know that when I make this post, it's going to convert to sales. It's going to convert to a Success Club point. Okay, 7, 8, 6, 7, 5, 4, 3, 4, 5, 4. Okay, cool. 3, 3, 5. So what would be possible for you, or would it be beneficial for you guys? Would it be valuable for you if by the end of our conversation tonight, you guys could increase that number by 1 point, 2 points, maybe be all the way up to like an 8, 9, 10. Like, would that be pretty valuable? And I'm curious for you, what would you need to feel or experience in content creation? And you don't have to post this in the comments. Okay, super good. Well, I just want you to connect with that. What would you need to feel while showing up on social media, like being right about to hit publish on a post, in order for you to know, like, this is an 8, this is a 9, this is a 10? Just something to think about for a moment. And so, this conversation tonight is going to be really powerful for you if you're in a place where you're really ready to build a thriving personal brand and online community, but you kind of feel like you've been yelling into the newsfeed, trying to stand out from all the other people, go through all the hashtags. Okay, I see lots of nods right now. If you are fed up with posting and spending 12 hours a day on social media, living out of your inbox, like, how many times a day, guys, are we refreshing the Instagram inbox? Like, did they write back yet? No. 5 minutes later, did they write back yet? No. Okay. And, especially now, seeing even more so, a lot of you guys have your family members home, or people who, previously were not in the house. Now you're probably seeing even more where your time and energy and focus and attention is. And maybe you're starting to notice that you're putting a lot of hours into this, and you might not be feeling like you're getting that return. Like, I'm working so hard. Why isn't this happening faster? And like, maybe there's a little burnout or resentment kicking in. Yeah, a little bit. I see some head nods. I would think that you're here because you're ready for a less all-consuming way to really attract new customers. So, for some of you, maybe so that you can finally prove to your spouse that this freaking works, because it does. Yeah. Okay, so what we're going to talk about tonight, my promise to you is that I'm going to just give you guys whatever, all the value over the next 60 minutes. We'll do some Q&A as well. And like I shared at the beginning, I've gone ahead and kind of unpacked some of your posts. So we'll get to really have a customized conversation for you guys as Beachbody coaches. And I want you guys to know too, that nothing that I'm sharing with you today is based on theory. I've taught my niching down process to literally over 1,000 online coaches, network marketers, service-based entrepreneurs. And so everything that you're going to learn today has been tested and proven to work by both myself and my clients. And so I'll share my screen real quick for you. And so by the end of today, you are going to know the biggest mistakes that are preventing you from having the income, influence, and impact that you desire in your Beachbody business. The 3-part customer attraction formula that will have new people sliding into your DMs asking how they can pretty please work with you, and my simple steps to refine your content voice into a way where you can get people commenting and sharing and tagging their friends like, oh my God, you need to follow this chick. Like imagine what like the engagement would look like if everyone was just like sharing your stuff organically for you. Like I'm here for that. So for me in my business, creating valuable content, it really helped me to stand out online and grow my business, but it wasn't the content alone that changed my business. And you've probably experienced this too. I know at a time in the Beachbody world, one of the things that was highly recommended was to post 3 to 5 times a day. I mean, I remember I had done Beachbody back in 2011. I remember people used to post, they used to recommend on Facebook before even Instagram, it was like, you should post every single hour. And yeah, it was legit nuts. And so it's like this conversation around, is it the content or is it the quality of the content? Right? So it wasn't the content alone that changed my business. And really the game changer for me was when I learned how to pitch to my niche, how to speak to that person who I am trying to attract into my business. And really learning to niche down, that was the game changer behind attracting the right people, building a connected community, and creating a 7-figure business. It didn't start there. In fact, my big awakening was in 2014, April 1st, 2014. I decided that I was gonna I wrote it as if it had already happened. I made $100,000 this year by creating products and building my business. And I remember I quit my job at TGI Fridays. I came home that day, I was super excited. And my family was like, I'm sorry, what? What'd you do? And I understand why they felt that way, because at the time, I was a burnt out waitress bartender / like struggling musical theater performer who was trying to create income on the side with this really cool network marketing thing that I was like totally prior to that point, it was a total hobby for me. And yeah, this is my first Beachbody. This is when I did network marketing. I hope you guys see all the zeros for months on end. So, you know, when I came home in 2014 and I was like, I'm going to do this thing full time, my mom was really concerned. My dad was like, why don't you go to nursing school? And I was like, blood? No, thank you. I mean, people in my life were just so confused, and I get it. I get where they were coming from. But in that moment, I made a decision. I stopped toe dipping, stopped with the side hustle, and I got really committed to going all in with my business. And I remember, because I went back all in, I started applying some of the things that at the time, you know, had been taught to me from various people and extended teams, and it was not working. Now, maybe it had worked in previous years, but by that point in 2014, the things that had worked in 2011, things changed quickly online, and I was getting ghosted. And I remember sitting back going, it was right when 21 Day Fix came out. I was getting all these people messaging me being like, oh my gosh, you have amazing results. And I was just pushing them away by sending them these really long novels explaining all this stuff about, and this is how it works. I was getting ghosted, and I said, you know what, I'm not going to respond to another person until I have a better sales process. And so I spent the next week and a half like deep in the trenches of YouTube. And by the end of the week, I had 25 new challengers signed up, and I was like, oh, that's like 800 plus bucks. That's more money than I make in my serving job. Okay, I could do this. And so from then on, like sales was pretty freaking easy for me. Like I could sign up anybody. And you'd think, well, that's great, Jen. Look at you getting all these Success Club points. Not so much, because I ran into a problem that I didn't see coming. And that was that my challenge groups were a complete mishmash of people. I had a college-age vegan who only had a microwave in her dorm and was like, how do I convert the containers to like my microwave? And, you know, what should I be eating in the college cafeteria? I don't know. I'm not there. I have absolutely no idea. I had a protein shake drinking finance professional who wanted to get ripped, who went to high school with, and he was like, I'm not going to do the Beachbody workouts. I'm just going to like run on the beach and I'm going to drink this GNC shake. Can I still be in your group? And I was like, okay, sure. And then I had like an emotional binge eater who was on and off Weight Watchers for 10 years. So like these people, they wouldn't normally hang out. They did not have anything in common. And they were asking me all these really unique questions, like, how do you do this vegan? And I'm like, oh my gosh. And I'm sitting there going, how can I possibly create content both on social media and inside my challenge groups that's actually valuable to all of these people, because they all have such completely different needs and completely different questions. And I was really just trying to be everything to everyone, and it was exhausting. I mean, truly, like my messaging, junk food slowing you down, is really general. That's an old post that I made back in the day. And so a couple months later, as I kind of was diving into this, I was so committed to figuring out how to really attract the right people that I kind of accidentally stumbled into my niche, and all of a sudden my tribe completely, like it grew, and I started attracting those right people who were showing up in the group. And it was, my challenge groups got to the point where I didn't even have to be in there. The groups ran themselves because I would put them on teams and do all these different things, and everybody was just so committed and so connected to each other. And so by the time it got to December 2015, I was in the top 0.01% for sales. But I realized I was in the wrong business and niche. As you guys remember, my goal here was to create my own thing. And really, at that point, network marketing, I was like, I'm going to go all in with it. But I really wanted to create my own coaching programs. That was my real passion. And so I left network marketing, started doing one-on-one business coaching. I had a lot of network marketers from outside companies reaching out, a lot of people from extended teams who couldn't work with me because they weren't in my downline reaching out. And by October of 2016, I had my first six-figure online course launch. And since then, I've taught hundreds of coaches my brain-based methods for signing customers and selling online programs. And so, yeah, as Stephanie said, I'm a brain-based business coach, and that is what I do. And it's like really crazy to see how powerful this is. This is one of my clients, Amanda, who was just kind of like really struggling to find her niche, kind of like hiding in the background, really trying to be someone else, trying to be what she saw so many other people in the online space being, trying to show up like this cookie cutter version of her uplines and her extended people and other people she admired. And when she finally just like went all in with what she wanted to create, I mean, actually since then, in 2019, she ended up doing $500,000 in sales. And like from literally nothing, like last year, in that December, right before this January, she's literally like, we couldn't even buy Christmas gifts because we didn't have the money. And like, just fully committed to, she was like, I had nothing else to lose, right? So I'm curious from you guys, I want to know in the chat box, like, what are some of the things that you've been taught about social media or about business growth that you're not 100% sure? They're like, I don't know if this is really working for me. Because guess what? Not all things that you've been taught are going to be things that maybe you need to apply. But the one thing that we do need to have is a really clear niche, right? And we'll talk more about that. Yeah, to post at least 2 to 3 times a day. You can't be successful without a private social media account. Oh, with a private social media account. So like that you have to make it public to be authentic in your posts. Yeah. Cool. So yeah, like I just ask you guys that, and maybe some other things will come up for you as we're chatting, but I mean, even when I'm working with my own clients, I tell them to filter to just test everything, to make sure that it 1000% aligns with you. And so I'm going to invite you guys to do that as we talk today, to try some things on for size that may go against some things that you maybe have been taught in the past, or maybe be completely new things that you've never learned before. And so I just invite you guys to just be open and coachable and just like see, like, does this work for me, right? Because there's so many different like rules of thumb in the online space, in social media marketing, there's best practices, and then there's the thing that you do that feels super aligned to you. Ooh, yeah, to show who you are in all aspects of your life, which feels a little invasive. We're going to talk about that today. We're going to dive into that a bit. Okay, so first thing I want to chat with you guys about is some of the biggest mistakes. Some of the biggest mistakes that people are making, particularly in the network marketing arena. And so the first one is marketing to everyone. Now, I know when it comes to network marketing, it could be a little bit more challenging to really find that person that you want to speak to, because yes, Shakeology can help a wide variety of people. When you've got something like Beachbody On Demand, you literally have access to all of these workout programs. So there's pretty much a program in there for grandma and your mom's friend Debbie and your little cousin. Like, there's literally something in there for everyone. And so it can seem really challenging and really silly, almost like, why would I niche down when I can literally help all of these people? And people will say to me, but Jen, I can't niche down. Everyone needs what I sell. I don't want to leave anyone out. You guys know Planet Fitness, right? So in 2017, Planet Fitness increased their yearly revenue by 13.7% to $429.9 million. 13.7% increase, $429.9 million. Can we all just agree, like, okay, they're crushing it. Like, that's pretty good. On a $10 a month membership, I'm here for it. So I like to use this example. I'm very data-driven when I'm teaching. I'm like, well, let's look at the evidence. What is their marketing message? Who are they serving? This hangs on their wall. They've got something called a lunk alarm. And you're supposed to ring the alarm when you see somebody grunting, dropping weights, judging. They have signs that they're like no string tank tops, no jeans, no sandals. Yeah, Sonny said they're trying to repel bodybuilders. And so really, most gyms are really catered to like people who are deep in the fitness world. But Planet Fitness decided to go a completely different direction and really serve this underserved group of people. And so they're really speaking to the average Joe. Not the fitness enthusiast, the person that's just got to get on a treadmill for 20 minutes a day and like move their body. And so by speaking to the average Joe, they're being very unapologetic in their messaging by saying it's a judgment-free zone, no gym intimidation, because they understand who their ideal client is and the struggles that they've had and the reasons and objections that they've had about going to other gyms. Does that make sense? Right? So they've got crystal clear messaging, and they are thoughtful about their messaging from the way in which they position their gym to the second you walk in the door. They've got, have any of you guys, I know you guys do your at-home workouts, so maybe you've never been to a Planet Fitness, but if you have, like, what's the experience? Like, you walk in and there's Tootsie Rolls at the front door. On Mondays, they have pizza night. They don't want anybody wearing string tank tops. So like almost everybody there is like running on the treadmill in like a really baggy t-shirt. So they're very intentionally creating an environment. Yeah, bagels too, Jacqueline said. He said no support. Yeah. So they don't allow people to personal train there. Like, if you want extra additional support, you can go to one of their core people and they'll do like free training sessions. It's also hard for women, yeah, to have a judgment-free wait time. Yeah, so they've really been very thoughtful about creating a space where their ideal client feels safe. And they would not be able to do that. There's no way that they would have, over 500 physical locations. Like, you think about that, that's enormous. They've over 500 physical locations. You think about all the other mom and pop gyms all over the country, wherever you live, and they never expand beyond that one location. And I've worked at many gyms like that, and they struggle to even stay open as is. Well, it's because they're all trying to market to the same people, or they're being really general in their marketing, right? So if staying general was the key to profits, wouldn't Planet Fitness be broke? And wouldn't all those other gyms be absolutely crushing it, right? And we know that's not the case. And now, one thing that I've heard from people in the online space is like, oh, the only people who can make money online are people who sell like making money. And so I just wanted to share this with you. One of my clients, Jessica, when she found her niche, she 4x'd her monthly income, and she was focused in a relationship niche. And she was like, for August, I am 4 times that. And one of the biggest things was, she goes at the bottom, for a long time I was thinking, are the only coaches making money online ones that are marketing to other coaches? And now I know that's BS. So I just want you to realize, like, there's just, obviously with making money online, it's really easy to market that, right? Everybody wants to make more money. But you guys are actually in a really unique perspective where you get to speak to that, and you get to speak to the health and fitness side of things. So, I mean, that kind of adds actually another layer of complexity with nailing down your niche, but we want to make sure that we have clarity on all those aspects. So I want to make sure we have time for Q&A. So the second mistake here is being product obsessed. Being in love with your product or program instead of being in love with your customers. And listen, when I first became a Beachbody coach, I fell hard into this trap where I just like could not shut up about Shakeology because I was just really excited that it healed my gut. But it was so much about me, and oh my God, you have to try this product, that nobody cared. Nobody cared. And so if you're leading with the features of your products and programs, your dream client is going to keep scrolling. In fact, I just shared a video on my Instagram of me back in 2011, a video of me. It's like I created like a Shakeology infomercial. And what I shared in that post was like, all that I was speaking to is it's got this many vitamins and this many nutrients. And that was really how Beachbody promoted a lot of their stuff back in the day, but they still do a little bit, because when they're creating their promotional products for you guys, they're doing it through the lens of trying to educate you as coaches so that you understand the science and have the knowledge about what's actually inside the programs. And so they're teaching it to you through the lens of like that it's like a certification, right? They're giving you the higher level. That's not what's gonna speak to your client who's like, I just wanna lose weight. I just wanna lose the baby weight. They don't need to know all that stuff unless they ask. Like, I'm somebody who I'd probably wanna know, but that's not what would initially attract me into wanting to invest or enroll in something health and fitness related. Does that resonate for you guys? Yeah, okay, cool. So really what we need to be looking at is how business is about relationships. It's about relationships. And I know for a lot of you guys, you know, it's not that people are investing in your products or even in your challenge groups. They're investing with you. And that's why there are some coaches who month after month after month, they're hitting like Success Club 4,000, and you're like, what the heck, man, I can't even get freaking 5. How are they hitting Success Club 86 every month? We're selling the same products. We're using the same strategies. Like, what's the deal? Like, what is it that they figured out that I haven't? It's that people don't care about the products. They don't even care about the coaching or how many workout videos they're going to get if they sign up. They care about you. They want to be in and around your energy. They want to be in your world because you are showing up in a certain way from a leadership lens. And they're like, I want to be her friend. I want to be coached by her. I want to learn from her. Right? And so you guys have heard this a million times. To stand out online, you must add value. But what does that really mean? I remember I used to roll my eyes so freaking hard when I would watch trainings and they'd be like, just add value. You guys just add more value. I was like, what does that even mean? Give me steps. Give me some kind of context of what you're even freaking talking about. Does that piss anybody else off? Maybe it's just me because I'm like a how person, like, give me the freaking steps, man. And we're going to talk about that today, of how we can actually really start to speak to our person so that we can add more value. Okay, Jamie's with me. Cool. So this third mistake here. Okay, Blair says, oh, hey, Blair. She says, I need steps too. Yes, Alejandra says me too. Okay, so this last one is one that very few people want to admit, right? But chasing vanity metrics. It's like, oh my God, I got a new follower, yay, right? It's like more followers does not equal more dollars. And we ask, like, why are so many coaches struggling to grow profitable businesses? And for a lot of people, it's because they are spending their time, their energy, their attention worried about getting more followers, worried about getting more likes, instead of focusing on the money-making activities that will actually make them profitable. And I'm not talking about the vital behaviors. I'm going to go and expand beyond that, like being here right now and learning like business fundamentals that are going to completely elevate your content. Like this is a money-making activity for sure, right? Like being here, connecting with each other, doing your own personal development, increasing your energetic capacity. Like that is going to make you more attractive to buyers, not just in terms of the content, but in terms of the way that you show up, right? And so, like I said before, I want you guys to actually answer this, because when we are confronted with the truth, sometimes it wakes us up a little bit. How many times per day are you refreshing Instagram? Or more specifically, refreshing the inbox and looking at the inbox to see, did anybody write me back? Probably every hour. I lose count a lot. Okay, you're saying a lot, but like, so probably every hour. So that's like maybe like 8 times a day. And I want you to, it's going to hurt, but you got to answer it. Like if you had to guess, about every hour, about 8 times a day, 5 times, 30 times, 15 times a day. I have a funny feeling it's probably a lot more than that for a lot of you guys. So I'm going to invite you guys for the next 24 hours to just like, maybe you've got a little pen, piece of paper, you just put a little tick every time you catch yourself doing it. Kim said I'm glued to my phone. Totally. I feel you. And you can see in your phone, if you have an iPhone in particular, there's other apps that you can get that will actually tell you how much time you're spending on an app. But for the amount of, so then you'll realize like, oh my God, I'm on social media apps 5 hours a day. And you're like, I'm working. Aren't you? Right? And it's like, listen, if you want to use social media for leisure and scroll, like, listen, I do that too. I know a lot of people jump on a TikTok right now, and it is entertaining, but it's also a black hole. It will suck your time. Yeah, I literally have painted my arm from being on like carpal tunnel in the thumb. It's like, I feel like Beachbody needs a thumb workout. They need to do some extra thumb stretches in their next program. Oh yeah, I used to be able to tell how many followers, to have the number and see how many you lost. Yeah, that's just like torture, daily gut punch. Yeah, it's like, oh my gosh, yeah. So I want to invite you guys to like actually look at how many times a day you're looking, not just at your phone, but like refreshing and really just audit yourself, right? Because until we have awareness of something, like true awareness, like we know it's a problem, but we're not really looking at it. Until we truly know how it's preventing us from achieving our goals, we don't change it, right? And I think something that I really want to highlight on is like, being popular is not the same as being profitable. And you don't need 10,000 followers to make 10K months. True story. I mean, literally, I don't know if you guys actually know the numbers in your business, but hopefully you all have a financial revenue goal that you're working towards, right? How many people do you actually need on your team, or how many new customers do you actually need monthly in order to reach that goal? Now, I know sometimes with bonuses and who's on what leg, it can become a little bit more difficult to calculate. But I would say if you're really committed to growing a Beachbody business, you've got to get clear on what that actually looks like and really clear on how to actually calculate those things. Now, I don't know if Beachbody's improved any of that since the last time I had an in-depth conversation with Beachbody coach about how they calculate their potential earnings. But yeah, I mean, knowing how you make money, that's so important, you guys. Because I think sometimes we put it so far out ahead of us. And it's constantly something that like, maybe I'll get there. Maybe if I just get like 100 people on my team, I can achieve that goal. I'm like, I bet it's not as big of a mountain as you might be making it in your mind, right? So I want to talk to you guys. I'm going to share this with you. I want to break down my niche down method. Would that be valuable for you guys to see like the 3 core components of what you need to have a really clear niche? Would that be valuable? Yeah, cool. I'll just see in the chat. Yeah. So the very first thing that we need to be clear on is our expert topic. Now, one of the areas of resistance that I hear from a lot of people when I mention having an expert topic is like, oh my God, Jen, I'm not an expert. Okay, well, define expert for me. What makes someone an expert? Do they need to have a doctorate? Do they need to have 70 plus years of experience? Do they need to have a New York Times bestselling book? And you can like let me know in the chat box, like what actually defines somebody as an expert? Consider resources. A lot of people will say experience, but be clear about that. How much experience makes someone an expert? Okay, Jacqueline said you can teach it to someone and like get them a result, right? Problem solver, knowledge and facts, experience, and tenure in the field industry. Someone who is knowledgeable in the topic. Yeah, interesting thought. But what if you're 9 months pregnant and you're about to give birth? Would you rather take advice from the woman who gave birth 20 years ago or the woman who gave birth a month ago? I'm seeing you guys' mouth a month ago. How come? I thought we needed years and years of experience. Okay, you're saying both. Touche. Right. It depends on how many kids the first one had, right? Yeah, because Catherine said they recently went through it. So they've now experienced something that you're about to experience, or you'd like to experience, and they understand like the most recent, yes, Anna said the most recent medicine is different now, exactly. And guess what? Same thing applies to the fitness industry, right? The way in which somebody might have lost 20 pounds 20 years ago, probably a little bit different than the way that you're going to lose weight, you're going to lose 20 pounds today, because we have more knowledge. 20 years ago, it was like, eat some grapefruit and canned tuna and some crackers and an apple. Anyone else do that diet? Do that shit in like middle school? Yes. Okay. So they both face similar challenges at some point and offer good pointers. Absolutely. So I share that example with you guys because I really want to emphasize that I think there's potentially some of you guys here tonight even who might be not acknowledging the level of expertise and experience that you have. You're like, well, you know, so-and-so has already, you know, gone through 21 Day Fix or Insanity or Morning Meltdown, but I haven't finished a program and I'm only a month in. I'm only 2 weeks in. What do I have to share? You have a lot to share. Just like the new mom, you've just experienced and had to overcome those hurdles that the person you're trying to attract would like to do. Like, you're 2 weeks ahead of them, great, you're ahead of them. You overcome those things, right? They both face some similar challenges at some point, though could offer both. It can be intimidating when people ask you, okay, so you're a coach if you're a personal trainer, right? Ooh, okay, so we can definitely say, I want you to save that one, Alejandra, because I would love to chat about that. We'll do some like objection obliterator conversations and really speak to that after, because I think that's a really fun one to kind of address. And we can chat after about a lot of the objections that you guys are having come through, whether it be money or spouse or, you know, looking at your credentials or all of that. So can you guys see already how you might actually be a little bit more of an expert? Like, you've got the tools to support people. Like, you've been set up for success with Beachbody On Demand. You didn't have to create the curriculum. It's already been created by experts. And so you just get to be an expert at showing up for people and loving people. Like, that's your job. So the second area of this niche down method is really knowing your dream client inside and out. And like I was talking about before, a lot of people are like, Jen, I don't know. I don't want to leave people out. I don't want to speak to one person. I remember actually I was on another Beachbody training call. And one of the ladies said, well, I don't know, Jen, because niching down, it's like right now I've got this big ocean and I got a big old net and I can like help all these people. And you're telling me that I got to like have a smaller ocean and a smaller net? And I started laughing. And first of all, before I kind of give it away, how many of you guys kind of feel that way? And it's okay if you do. Like, you're a little maybe uncertain about niching down. Like, I don't know if this is going to work. Kinda, yeah. Cool. I thank you and I honor you for being honest about that, right? Because it's real, right? So she said, I don't know, niching down, it's like smaller ocean, smaller bait. So I said, I feel like my niche is so saturated already. Okay, cool. And so what I said to her was like, thank you so much for really like articulating and creating a very clear visual metaphor for the biggest mistake around niching down. I said, because that's what a lot of people think, but the reality is niching down is like fishing with the right bait. Like imagine social media, your newsfeed, that's your pond. And you just like plop the perfect bait right in front of your ideal person. But you're not gonna catch a shark with a worm. Sharks can smell blood from 2 miles away. But if you're giving them a worm, they're not coming. Yeah, okay. Nikim said, I know who I want. It's the where. They're there. They're there. And I struggle to figure out. Same here. Okay, yeah, and the how. Well, we'll talk more about that in a sec. And you'll see with some of the examples that I'm going to share with you guys how that's going to begin working for you. Right? So we see this a lot, right? Within this space where when we're speaking to everyone, we're actually speaking to no one. And you guys may have heard that before, right? But if you just have this really general marketing message, like, are you wanting to lose weight? Do you want to feel great? That doesn't speak to anyone. And especially in the health and fitness industry, there's a lot of fast turnover in marketing message because there are a lot of people in this arena. And so that's really where having that clear person that you're speaking to allows you to cut through the noise of everyone saying the same stinking thing. And so the third piece here is having a really clear brand story. And for a personal brand, or if you're an online coach, as you guys are, it's your story, your personal story in relation to the product or program. And I know a lot of you guys have done a really great job of really developing your story into your very first experience with Beachbody or your very first experience into coaching. And I read through a lot of your Instagram content around that. And so I just want to remind you guys that, you know, when we're developing our brand story or stories, the game is not about having the Hallmark story, the Lifetime movie story. I know this is a big thing. When I was a Beachbody coach, my team was like, well, I don't know, like my so-and-so didn't like get sick with some illness and then they recovered and like, or I didn't have cancer. Like, I don't know, like I wasn't homeless and now I'm at 7 figures. Like, I don't have that story. So my story is not valuable. Why would anybody care? Have you guys ever experienced that where you're like, I don't know, is my story good enough? Is it interesting enough? Will people care? Kate says yes. Grace says yeah. Yeah, and I know in the Beachbody world, there are some really amazing stories. But what I want to invite you guys to consider is that sometimes sharing the most outrageous story or most dramatic story or most like painful story is not always in service of the sale. Because when we're sharing, if it's not related to the product, program, service, or offering. So if I'm sharing a story about how I was homeless and then start talking about niching down, unless the homelessness had something to do with niching down, the story actually doesn't serve the audience. And actually the story that I shared with you guys at the beginning of this, I have multiple stories that I use depending on the podcast I'm being a guest on, depending on the training that I'm doing, because I want to pre-frame the conversation with the story to help you guys see how the thing that I'm going to talk about is actually going to help you get the result that you want. And you might be like, wait, what? You can go back and rewatch the beginning of this training just to see how I kind of positioned it. But I showed you guys how like I thought that just getting more sales would solve my problem. And that's likely where a lot of you guys are at right now. But what I was able to show you through my story, through that metaphor of my story, was that getting more sales is not going to solve your problem. And that when I thought that was my solution, it actually created more problems in my business. But then by going ahead and really getting clarity around my niche, that was actually the missing piece of what really made the biggest difference in my business. right? Does that make sense? Yeah? Okay, cool. And so I want to show you guys too, when we're missing one of these in our business, what is the consequence? What is the cost? So if we are not clear in our dream clients, but we know our expert topic, we know our brand story, what tends to happen is our content is generic and it doesn't speak to the specific desires of our dream person. And so it just falls a little bit flat. It's just a little vanilla. And you might have even written some posts and you were like, I don't know, should I post this? Probably because you weren't really speaking to a specific person. And so you were like, maybe I'm not creative, or, maybe I'm just not a good writer. That's not true. Those are just symptoms of not knowing who you're speaking to. The second thing is, if we're not clear on our brand story, but let's say we're clear in our expert topic and our dream client, your marketing, you might be crushing it in terms of your marketing, but it probably lacks some heart and personal connection. And when we don't have our brand story and people can't connect with us, they're gonna price shop, right? They're gonna say, oh, this green juice is $7.99 and it's got the exact same ingredients of this green juice that's $4.99. Which one are they buying? The one that's $4.99. Because they have no connection to either brand. Like, I don't know about you guys, but when I go on Amazon, I'm not looking for a specific brand. I'm looking for the cheapest deal. So you definitely don't want that to happen in your industry. And really, with Beachbody coaches, you guys are all selling the same end thing, right? You all have the same physical product or supplements that you're selling. And so for you guys, more than anybody, like having that really clear brand story to create that connection with your audience is really gonna allow you to be like, so that people are not like, oh, what's the difference between your challenge group and her challenge group? Like if people want to get on the phone with me for business coaching and they tell me that they've been on a couple of different calls with a few different coaches, I'm like, no, I won't get on the phone with them, because I know that they don't really know me. I'm not interested in working with people who are shopping around or convincing anybody that they should be a client, because I've done all this work and I'm like, I don't need it, right? But it really comes down to having clarity around that. And so this other piece here, like let's say we don't have clarity in our expert topic. So we haven't like stepped forward as a true authority. We haven't like grabbed that, so like, I am a leader. This is the thing within health and fitness that I'm super passionate about. Like some of you guys are specifically speaking to postpartum moms, for example, or toddler moms, like that. They have specific issues. They have specific things that they're struggling with. And so there's a little bit of expert topic in there, but postpartum, that's a specific thing. So if all your content is really catered to like speaking to the key things that they're struggling with, they're gonna have different food, different movement. So that could be your expert topic in addition to overlapping with your dream client, right? But if you don't have clarity around that, people are probably inspired by you, but they don't buy. They go and they hire the specialist, the person who is saying that they're the specialist in gut health, in thyroid health, in postpartum, in, not using any cardio and just bodybuilding, like whatever it is. So I'm curious from you guys, is there a specific area from looking at this where you feel like, oh wow, that might be the area where I might need to get a little bit more clarity? Alejandra said that last one is totally me. Okay, cool. Yeah, that's one of the biggest things that I hear from a lot of you guys, is just like, oh my gosh, people keep being like, girl, you're so inspiring. I'm so motivated by you. And then you message them because they keep posting on your stuff, being super supportive, telling you you're so inspiring. And then they never want to freaking buy a challenge pack, but they will try to pick your brain. They'll be like, I just have a couple questions. Okay, I feel like I lack in dream client and branding, speaking to specific desires, dream client, brand story, dream client or brand story. Yep. Honestly, looking at this, all of them. Okay, cool. I honor you for saying that. And it like, like Gracie, it could be a little bit of all of them or two of them maybe. Yes, they say they can't afford it, but then pay for something more expensive. Yeah, when people, I mean, we can talk about that at the end. Like when people are giving you money objections, it's usually not about the money. It's that they don't understand the transformation or the value of what you're offering. Because they understood the transformation, then they would be fine. Like it's the same person that you then see. Like if their phone broke tomorrow, where would they be? They'd be at the AT&T store, either buying or financing a new phone, right? Because they understand the value and the pain of not having a phone. They don't yet understand the pain of not taking action on their fitness goals. Kim said, become the authority, tend to be a friend, understanding how to tell my story without word vomit. I got you, girl. Blair said, I have a vision, but it's hard to put it out in the world for authenticity, expert topic brand. Okay, cool. This is awesome, guys. You're like, does it feel good to like have some clarity or at least like a starting point on like where to really make some shifts? Yeah. Okay, cool. So I hope you guys see that, you know, there's some things that come through when we don't niche down, but most people don't niche down either because they don't know how. I mean, they're spending months on silly stuff like a website or, you know, making the perfect Instagram grid, or they're afraid to exclude anyone, right? Cool. So just looking at the chat. But really, when we do have clarity in our niche, when we do have clarity in who we are speaking to and how we want to show up and serve, there's so much more ease in what we are creating and posting. Like that just becomes far easier. I mean, you stand out to ready buyers. There's just clarity in your business, and you don't feel weird about asking like for what you're worth. Like you'll probably be like really excited to let people know the investment for a challenge pack because you're like, oh girl, this is a steal. Whereas right now, some of you might be kind of afraid to let people know that it's like $140 or $205 or whatever it is these days, right? So we want to make sure that we're getting clarity around that. And I just want to share this with you guys because this is one of my clients who is a Beachbody coach. And so when she started implementing some of this stuff, she had new people reaching out to her. So she posted in our group, she was like, not for nothing, this is from somebody randomly creeping on my IG. So she was getting people filling out her coaching form. And she was like, I've never messaged or had interaction with this person. Also, the next 3 clients I'm planning to sign for my accountability group are my dream tribe of clients. I will say it feels uncomfortable yet empowering AF to speak to who I want to. And then like 10 minutes later, she's like, number 2, never chatted with this person about coaching. Want to know something? I'm not even doing coaching call to actions. So literally just by her shifting the language in her content and showing up in like literally a 10% shift, she started getting people showing up, reaching out to her saying, how do I work with you? That'd be pretty sick if you guys could do that, right? Okay, so I want to show you guys 7 simple content reframes. This is a little bit more of like the how-to of how to actually start to execute on some more of this. And so I actually went through some of your Instagrams to do some rewrites for you and really talk through. So I just, you know, Steph gave me your guys' Instagram handle. So just know that like this is all coming from a place of complete love. If your name is on one of these, I literally used all the people that she sent. So like I'm not leaving anybody out. So it was all fair game, right? But you're also going to get some rewrites and some adjustments. So hopefully you'll see this as an awesome coaching moment where you can like take some of this and actually go ahead and you're welcome to use it and tweak some of your messaging. So the very first one is especially for Instagram, because I just want to see like show of hands, like most of you guys are using Instagram primarily. Wow, like almost all of you guys. Okay, cool. Sweet. That makes this super easy. Okay, so the first thing here is having a really juicy hook. So we've got Abigail here, and you can see the whole post here, but let's just look at this first paragraph. She said, let's talk about the importance of mindset and how much it's changed for me in the 8 years between when these pics were taken. Now the picture obviously is a whole other conversation that I was like, let's maybe leave the pictures out, not get into that. But just from that first paragraph alone, how many of you guys would be like, I need to read more? And listen, this is no shade on anybody. This is a learning experience for everyone. Trust me, there's plenty of posts that I've made that are probably really rough, right? So I don't know. I would maybe be interested if I already had a relationship with her. I'd be like, oh, let me maybe learn more. And so she goes on to say, I feel for the version of myself on the left. She was so concerned with her weight and how she looked. She would unhappily look in the mirror, certain that she was fat. She willingly made herself unhappy in hopes that others would find her skinny and attractive. The version of me on the right is 20 pounds heavier and confident in her body because she's more concerned with feeling amazing and caring for herself the way she needs to be cared for. She has personal goals for herself, but none that are based on seeing the approval of others. More importantly, she's happy. It's okay to want to improve yourself or make changes to look the way you want to look, but I encourage you to make sure those adjustments are rooted in positive mindset. Having the body you want should come second to being happy and loving yourself unconditionally. So really beautiful message in what she shares, and she's using her story to really show this contrast of how, and the message here, we always want to be like, well, what's the takeaway? What's the lesson for our reader? What I'm getting from this is, you know, it's okay to want to improve yourself and know that those changes need to be rooted in self-love, and that weight is not a determiner of your happiness, right? So we can just elevate this. It's already a great post. How do we make this a little bit more about, how do we tie this back in to make it a little bit more about the client? So, and we want to create like a really juicy hook that will get somebody reading. So I put, gaining 20 pounds made me fall in love with my reflection, right? Super short. It's like, wait, what? Gaining 20 pounds. And the reason it kind of grabs you is because that's not normally what people would hear or think. I thought losing weight makes you fall in love with your reflection. So it says here, gaining 20 pounds made me fall in love with my reflection. 8 years ago, my whole world revolved around being skinny, slipping. And then I just kind of like was adding a little bit to this because I wanted to make a point here to show you guys how you can really start to dig into your stories to make it a little bit more of an experience for your reader. So you want to be thinking about, what are the visual pictures that you are giving to that person? What are the auditory experiences that you're giving to that person? And what are you asking that person to feel? Because a lot of you guys may just be like, oh, I felt really ugly and then I felt really confident. And so it's like, for those of you who are primarily kinesthetic in the way that you experience things, this could be a little bit more challenging for you, but that's okay. So I just added to this and I said, slipping out of 8 years ago, my world revolved around being skinny. Now, this is not her story, I just made this up. Slipping out of my college dorm room to work out for the second time that day, looking up Finspo on Instagram, bashing myself for going above the calorie bracket over the weekend, standing in front of the mirror and genuinely feeling fat even though my ribs were showing. Today, I'm 20 pounds heavier and more than 20 times happier, right? So I'm giving here, you can see me on the computer looking this up on Instagram. You can see me sneaking out of that college dorm room for the second time. Do you guys see how we're creating a little bit more visual specificity? And so then I say, I am clear with my personal goals that it has nothing to do with the number on the scale. So she does speak to this in the post, but I was like, let's punctuate this because people are scrolling really fast, really, really fast on Instagram. They're not reading, they're skimming. And you can also see that she's written in these really big paragraphs. And so I've broken it up to make it a little bit easier because people don't read left to right on social media. They read top to bottom as they scroll. So they're skimming. So we want to make that really easy for them. And then I say at the bottom, and I am helping other women who were constantly praised for being skinny, knowing deep down it was never enough, finally learn how to eat, work out, and genuinely show love for themselves without relying on a mirror or a scale. So I want to turn this over to you guys and just like, let me know in the chat, like, what are some things that you notice? And even in your own content and posts, you know, do you guys feel like you're really using a strong hook to grab people in? I need more strong hooks. Yeah, because you've got to think about it. When you're looking at your Instagram, people are only seeing, especially if they're coming back to your page, they're only seeing a teeny tiny little bit. I'm trying to just find a post. Right, they're only seeing that tiny, I don't know, where am I in this? Yeah, the spacing makes it way easier to read. He said, I find it easier to talk about topics in which I really do feel like I'm an expert on, but specifically when I feel like I fail at my nutrition or fall off the bandwagon, I get embarrassed and detach myself from social media because it makes me feel like I failed at becoming the expert. And I think what you just expressed is so beautiful, because I think that that's what most people think. And that's the number one reason why people don't sign up to become a Beachbody coach, because they know that they've fallen off so many times. And they're like, who am I to be an expert? So even though it might be uncomfortable in sharing aspects of that, you're probably going to attract your ideal client, your dream team person, by actually speaking to more of that. And I think there's like that fine line of vulnerability, of knowing, I definitely am not in the camp that you need to broadcast all of your ish all over social media. I truly believe that when we share a story, that we're not truly, like when you experience something, like there's a wound, right? When you experience something that's uncomfortable, and there's some people that will share those wounds openly on social media, which is not necessarily a bad thing, but chances are, especially if you have not yet extracted the lesson from it, because that's what your client is waiting for. They want the lesson. If you have not articulated or closed it with the lesson, they're sitting there going, it's going to be okay, girl. Like, keep going. Don't stop. You got this. All of a sudden, they're now encouraging you. They're now motivating you. Whereas when we've actually gone through something, we've experienced it, we've processed it, it becomes a scar. So you want to share the scar, not the open wound. Right? Okay. Let me just read these comments real quick. Loving the spacing. Space makes it much easier. The imagery makes me see her more and want to learn more about her story. Yeah, and what's important about that is when we're reading a story, we're like imagining ourselves go through it. And so whenever I am creating a story or creating a post, you want to be asking, what do you want the person reading it to feel, think, and do? So what's the emotion that you want to evoke? What's the belief that you are trying to instill in them, or the belief that you're trying to shift them away from, right? Because I do so much work in objection flipping in my content. And if you looked at my newsfeed and on Instagram and you didn't understand it, you'd probably just think, oh, that's a really good point. It's really good content. But it's very intentional. I just had put up a post today of a conversation. I don't know if you guys can see it. And if you want, you can go to Hey Jen Casey. That's my Instagram. But it's somebody DM'd me and said, I guess I just feel guilty that if I niche down, I'll leave somebody out. Is it selfish to only focus on what lights me up? And then I want to show people, sorry, I'm getting a little off topic, but I feel like this is relevant. And I'm showing people how I coach and respond, right? I'm showing them what it is like to work with me. And so I say, you will leave many people out when you niche down, but wouldn't it be more selfish to take on a client you didn't feel totally lit up about serving because of your own feelings of guilt? Isn't it actually selfless to allow them to find the person who can help them and serve them at the highest level? I'm shifting a belief by that piece of content. And I'm being very intentional about what they're currently believing and thinking, and using that as a way to move them into more success, more emotional freedom, right? And then what do I want them to do? Well, in that post, it's like, I want them to consider niching down so that they can make more money in their business, right? Like, I totally ate cake for lunch, mom probs, but I owned it on my stories. Yeah, that's awesome. Yes, extract the lesson. That's what stops the word vomit. You've got to take the story, frame the story, beginning, middle, end. And then at the end, what is the thing you want them to walk away with? And I have that as one of the examples here, but let's jump to call to action. So we have here, I'm definitely getting there. My waist looks so much smaller compared to when I first started. And girl, you looking awesome. It says, my body is reshaping all over. I had lost 9 inches in my chest, thighs, and waist. I have gained inches in my arm, a whole inch and a half to be exact. My biceps are getting bigger. I absolutely am loving watching my progress every week. You can get started on your programs too. It's never too late to start. Let me know. So I chose this one in particular because she said, let me know. Now, I'm all about, like, I'll give you the like marketing rules, and you can break them if you're breaking them intentionally. I remember when I was in high school, I was in a music theory class and we were learning how to write music. And he was like, yes, the best songwriters in the world, they all break the rules, but they're breaking them intentionally. They're breaking them understanding that they're breaking the rules, and they're being very purposeful about it. And so that's the invitation that I want to give you guys. So I like to say, let me know. When it comes to sales, it's kind of the kiss of death. How many of you guys use let me know? I'm sure no one wants to admit it now, but even in your sales conversations, in your DMs, it's like, okay, no worries, girl. Like, yeah, if you're interested, let me know. From an energetic standpoint, like imagine the energy of the conversation is a ball. Who's got the ball when you say, let me know? You just threw it to them. And that's why it feels so freaking awkward to try to follow up with somebody after you've told them, let me know. Because you're like, I'm still waiting for them to make a decision. Should I follow up with them? I don't know. Do they want me to follow up? Well, they probably would have. So you're totally leaving and passing the responsibility onto them. And just from a coaching perspective, like as a coach, like I said, what action do you want them to take at the end of your post? You want them to feel? What do you want them to think? What do you want them to do? I don't think you want them to let you know at some point in the near future. It's like, comment below right now if you want details, or send me a DM now, right? I think, sometimes we dance around it a little bit, but we've got to be more direct. And the reason for that is like the people if your ideal clients could have figured out how to get the result on their own, wouldn't they have done it already? They could have figured out how to lose weight. They would have done it 100 times over. They've had the time. They haven't been able to figure it out. They need you. They need you to tell them what to do. And just think about it from your perspective. Like, if you're going to work with somebody, do you want them to be like wishy-washy about the process? Or do you want them to be direct about, okay, you don't have to think about anything. Here's step 1, step 2, step 3. I don't know. For me, that gives me way more confidence when I actually know that this person knows where they're leading me and has clarity around where they're taking me. Then I can just kind of like have calm and confidence, like, okay, they've got me. I'm safe. Like, I'm good. Like, we're going to do this together. They know what they're doing. But when we say, I don't know, let me know, like, we're almost apologizing in our energy. We're just like leaving it on them. Yeah, okay, Blair says I'm guilty of not being direct. I do that all the time. Yep, and I feel like I just died every time I use it. Yes, I'm just in the DM client. Yeah. I mean, if you were gonna hire somebody, maybe as a relationship coach, business coach, manifestation coach, and they said to you, let me know. Now, sometimes, you might let them know if you felt really, really compelled to do it. But a lot of times, especially in the fitness industry, people are uncertain about taking action. They're like, maybe she'll forget and I won't have to start tomorrow. Like, there's a lot of emotion that's behind them committing to this. And so they need you to be direct and really show up for them in this. And so I did a little rewrite on this just to show you guys and articulate some of the things. So, again, coming back to, we're kind of building off of each concept. So again, with the hook, she said, I'm definitely getting there. My waist looks so much smaller compared to when I started. And so I said, OMG, I think I found my waist. Can you see it? And when you ask a question, people go, yeah, in their head. If you ask a question, you'll answer it. And so I just said, in X days, I've lost 9 inches in my chest size and waist, and gains in my arms. And then I was like, let me cater this. So I was looking at her feed and I was like, mamas, if you've got a million pictures of your kids making memories, but you're hiding behind your body behind the camera, have tried every diet, fad, or quick fix known to woman, and still avoid the mirror post-shower, kind of celebrated the fact that under quarantine, you were able to trade those pants that dig themselves into your stomach for a pair of stretchy cotton comfort. Sound familiar? That was me too. If you've been watching my progress, feeling curious about what I do, then this is your official invitation to send me a DM. I would love to chat to see if working together would be a good fit. All right, so what I've done here, and we're gonna talk more about this, is really just, we've gotta make it, it's not about you and the product. I think in the early days of Instagram, a lot of influencers really used it more as like an online diary. of what they were experiencing. And like, this is what I ate today. Like, remember those days? It was like food pictures and sweaty selfies, but things have shifted. Things have really changed. There's such an abundance of that, you know, people do have that inspiration if they want to go follow somebody who is sharing their journey, but you've got to speak their language. So we're just taking this and we're kind of expanding it and saying, how do we include your ideal client that you're trying to attract and let them know, listen, I'm in the same boat as you and I see you. I mean, for those of you guys who are moms who, or even not moms, like how many of you guys resonate with some of these bullet points? Like if you saw somebody posting about that, would you be like, she got a camera in my house? What's going on? She in my head? Right? So that's what you want to create in your ideal client, right? And so we want to be giving them a call to action. The call to action, this slide speaks to my soul. Yes. And the call to action here is, you know, this is your invitation. So you're inviting them. And I said to send me a DM. I would love to chat to see if working together would be a good fit. There's probably a lot of people who want to reach out to you, but they're afraid that they don't want to ruin the relationship. They're like, is she going to be pushy? Is she going to like try to convince me? Is she going to get mad if I decide it's not the right fit? So I always use the framing of this because it just feels very open to me. Like, let's just see if it's a good fit. Like, no worries if it's not. Totally cool if it's not the right fit for you, but like, let's just have a chat. Like, what's the worst that can happen, right? Living the legging life, don't miss real pants. Yeah, like there's a post right there around living the legging life. Because that's what we're doing right now. Okay, so I wanted to give you one other call to action example. So this is what winning at the small stuff looks like. Rising up at 6 a.m., putting on makeup for the first time in 5 days, recaulking your bathtub in no particular order. Gotta celebrate the wins, no matter how big or small. It saves my sanity and keeps me motivated. So like that made me laugh because I was like, oh, that was like very similar to my recent day. So I resonate with that, recaulk in the bathtub. But it's not asking me to do anything. Like she just told me what her day was about. So that's cool. I get to like see into her day, kind of like you would on Instagram stories. But like, what about just a little tag question at the end? Sometimes the little things really are the big wins. What are you celebrating today? And if you want to make it really easy for people to respond, give them an ABC. So I put cleaning, taking care of myself, surviving another day, not in the studio, right? Because she's really speaking to dancers quite a bit. So just giving them a little way that they can connect and engage with this and also celebrate alongside you. So we have a couple more, but I want to ask if you guys have any questions about any of these things before we keep going. Yay. Ooh, do I think posts should be a certain length or no? I think you can vary them. And I know for friends of mine, like some of you guys, most of you guys know Catherine, Manifestation Babe. If you read her emails, they are long. But she's trained her audience to care about that, and they'll read the whole thing. So it's like you kind of build it over time. You build that trust with them by showing them that you're going to be consistently delivering a high level of value. And I mean, I think when like people like try to make something longer just for the sake of making it long, if you can trim some fat and be brief and still communicate the point that you're trying to get across, then, you know, do it as condensed as possible. Just remember your audience they're scrolling really fast. So if you can get to the point faster, then do that. Should all posts be a call to action or alternate some value to the client? Yeah, so not every single one of my posts is a call to action in this sense of like, post below, let me know what you're celebrating. Sometimes I'm just like, you dig, or like, you feel me, people, and they'll like respond. And then other times because I know my audience so well, I'll just post something where I just know they're going to respond to it and be like, oh my God, you're in my head. You're speaking to my soul. This is hilarious, whatever that may be. Let me pull up one example of that. So I guess we can get into it. So for me, my Instagram growth has really some of you guys know Gary Vee, jab, 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 right hook, that philosophy. So basically it's like, okay. Really what I have been doing since October is really strategically creating very shareable content. And I'm really not paying attention to the likes so much as I'm paying attention to the shares, because the shares are where things are happening. Because when somebody shares that onto their Instagram story, that's like thousands of new eyeballs onto your content. And so when I was very strategically, very regularly posting very shareable stuff, it wasn't necessarily, I mean, people were commenting in the comments below. Let's see. So here's one, like I would do 3 goal achieving mantras. They're very, very simple. So this is like not about me, but I am communicating things that I believe in by sharing these mantras with them. And if you look at the insights, it has 517 hearts, 26 comments, 72 shares, and 359 saves. And so that's another part of like what Instagram is really paying attention to. Because if somebody's saving my stuff regularly, like I know that they're like, oh, I want to know more from her. So I'm looking at all of those different numbers and really assessing the data and doing like a jab, 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 right hook. So I'm like growth, 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 and then I'll post something that's like more story driven. And so for the last couple of months, if you guys go on my feed right now, you'll see that my last couple of posts have, or even like the last 12 posts are very story driven. Because right now we are kind of in an internal launch for a workshop that I'm doing. And so I'm focusing more on now taking all of these people who have been following me for a while, who really like my very shareable content because it makes their life easier now that they can, you know, they don't have to create content from scratch. They can just share my stuff on their Instagram stories. And I'm giving them new ideas. I'm giving them thoughtful things. And so now we're sharing a lot more story with call to action around like, hey, message me if you're interested. But a lot of the stuff before that in my like pre-launch phase was focused on primarily growth. And so you'll see kind of the numbers have shifted. And I'm cool with the fact that some numbers in engagement have dropped when I start sharing more story content. And I'm okay with that because I know those are the people who are actually buying. I don't care if there's 10 likes. If that gets me 10 sales, I'm here for it. I don't need 30,000 people joining my programs. I just need like 1% of that, and we got a 7-figure business. So that's great that I've got a decent sized following, but that's not the main criteria that I'm looking at. And so in terms of length, I'm always testing. I'm always exploring different things. The last couple of posts that I made have been really fun for me because I've really been testing some new stuff, like pulled a video from 2011, and I've been hiding this video from the internet for 9 years. That's been like one of my highest engaged videos that I've had in a very, very long time, if maybe ever, on Instagram. So it's just like, it's this game of testing and exploring and really seeing what resonates with your audience, right? But the thing that I really love to pay attention to is shares, saves, and then when I post stuff and people are like, girl, you're in my head. That's a customer for life. And they're like, oh my God, you're speaking to my soul. They're gonna buy my program. They're gonna work with me, maybe not now, but at some point, right? Because most people are not speaking to them in that way. So just, you know, we can look at the big data and it is helpful to see growth statistics, but and growth numbers, but really pay attention to like those core people who are following you. Should I post on a template per se so that they all match? I mean, you can. We kind of stick with somewhat of a color scheme. So you don't want it to necessarily look disjointed. You guys all have really beautiful Instagrams. I could tell you're using like Lightroom or something, like everything is very beautiful and consistent. And so I just wonder like how much time is that taking? I'm not saying not to do that because I definitely think it makes you look really professional. A lot of you guys have mostly pictures of yourselves, which I noticed, which is really cool. But I would even invite you guys to maybe mix that up a little bit because you're missing out on all the Instagram story shares, all that organic reach. Like people are not looking at hashtags as much. I mean, I follow some hashtags here and there, maybe you guys do too, but when friends of mine, like Stephanie, like my friend Catherine, like my friend Lauren, when they're sharing stuff on their Instagram stories and it's a quote that I really like, I'm like, oh, let me go follow this account. And I go follow the account. So I'm being exposed to new people mostly through that way. And again, like maybe that's me and maybe that's not you guys, but you want to be paying attention to your own experience as a consumer and start paying attention to your own habits, because that's going to tell you a lot about how you can really start creating a better experience for your consumer. If you're only putting out pictures of yourself, there's maybe you need to add in some videos of you talking direct to camera so that they can hear your voice and connect with you. Maybe you want to, like Stephanie does like dancing videos and stuff, like that's super fun. That shows her personality. Maybe there's some quotes and that takes some of the, maybe they're not even reading your long posts. You're like pouring your heart into these beautiful novels that nobody's reading in your caption. So what if you pulled some of that and you put that in a post just as a graphic so people can share that? That's going to maybe hook them in a little bit more than a picture of you, because they might not know you super well yet. So it's like, I'm always thinking about the customer experience and where are they at with me in that experience? Like, how well do they know me? What do they want to hear from me? And I'll see those different things reflected in the way that certain people are engaging. And we can definitely talk more about that or look at specific examples if you'd like. But let me keep going. So this is the lesson. So this is a beautiful post with the most gorgeous picture of Stephanie and Luke. And she said, 6 months ago, we said, I do to my best friend, my husband. I'm so grateful for you and all the love you bring into my life and the lives of others. Amongst all that is going on, you bring constant love, understanding, and commitment that I so appreciate. I couldn't imagine going through this journey of life with anyone else but you. Looking forward to the future with so much hope. I'm so excited for what is coming. Love always wins. So for me, like, beautiful post, and it was so great to like see that and get to see how this person that I love to follow gets to interact and love on her significant other. And I know when I post up about my significant other, people are like, oh my God, I love how you guys interact, because it gives people like a little peek behind the curtain of like who you are as a human being. And so, like, again, with all of this stuff, you guys could totally leave the posts as is. These are just rules of thumb, right? So I would maybe just add, like, to create some kind of lesson, like the greatest lesson that 6 months of marriage has taught me is blank. And then be like, for those of you guys who've been married for 2 days or 20 years, what's the biggest lesson you've learned from your partner? Just creating a way for people to be able, because I think that's even something that's like not fitness related, but the fact that, you guys have been together for a while and you're newlyweds, like, that's potential for an ideal client avatar to be like, oh my gosh, you guys remind me of me and my significant other. Like, I resonate with you, I connect with you because of that. And then you're also giving your audience a chance to get the spotlight. So they're getting to now share with you the biggest lesson that they've learned. And if you wanted to take it a step further, you can screenshot those things that they responded and share them on your Instagram story and tag them and being like, this is such a beautiful lesson from Blair. This is such a beautiful lesson from, Alejandra, of what she learned from being in a relationship. And so now you're taking your audience and you're spotlighting them. And they're like, oh my God, I can't believe she just tagged me and put my post up there and said it was good. They're going to be like they're going to be so obsessed with that. Like, what do you guys think about that? Would that be something that you guys would want to maybe do for your audience? Do you think they'd get excited if you got to like spotlight them a little more? Yeah. And like, if, let's even say for you guys, if Stephanie, if you guys posted under this and shared your biggest lesson and she shared it on her stories being like, wow, this is so beautiful, would that like really feel good and make you feel really like seen? Yeah. You're like, cool, got to add value today. Cool. So like, these are just like such little tweaks, but they really do make such a big difference. And like I said, are you going to do this on every single post? Maybe. Is it going to end your social media following if you don't? No, of course not. These are just like little tiny things that we can be looking at of like nuanced stuff of how can we improve? Because it's like the little tiny 10% is what makes the difference. Like, people think, oh, it's the big strategy, the funnel, the this, the that. No, it's this stuff. It's like the detail that makes the biggest difference. Okay, so the next one is looking at your excitement versus their problem. And I see this a lot with, especially when IGTV first came out, you'll see people get on live video and say, hey guys, how's it going? Okay, so like, I've been thinking about this thing and I'm really excited to talk about this topic today. Like, this is something that's been coming up for me a lot and I'm like really, really excited about it. Cool, first of all, you've told me absolutely nothing about what we're gonna learn. And all you've told me is that you're excited about it, not why I should be excited about it. And I get it. It's kind of like a nervous tick. We just start vamping. And so we just kind of fill the space, but we're not saying anything that is intriguing somebody to stick around. Okay, so that was one point that I really wanted to make in terms of this. And then so Steph had here a coaching call to action, or a challenger call to action. So she said, we are about to have some fun this month. Putting some juice, I think it was supposed to be juicy, things together for my team. Keeping fun while staying healthy and looking at the bright side of things. This month is not over and you can still set up for success with our team. Up to this point, again, nothing but love. I don't really know what she's talking about. I can obviously look at her feed, but I'm like, you're gonna have fun, some juicy things, okay, staying healthy, looking at the bright side of things. Join us today for an amazing experience. Get into the best shape of your life while working on your mental limitations and getting to know ladies just like you all around the country. Okay, cool. I like that second part, getting to know people. Let's chat about tangible goals. So one other thing I want to point out is, like, when we're creating content, we want to be thinking about, is this the language that your ideal client is actually using? Is your person laying in bed going, I just wish I could work out my mental limitations? Is that what she's Googling? How to overcome mental limitations? No, she's probably not. I mean, maybe she is. Maybe you have a very unique ideal client. So it's like, okay, let's really pull this in. And let's say, for example, the ideal client here is toddler moms. So the post would go, toddler moms during quarantine. Day 1, this is the perfect time for a wine night and Netflix. Day 7, this is the perfect time for a wine night and Netflix. Day 14, this is the perfect time for a wine night and Netflix. Day 31, there's nothing good on Netflix. My heartburn is really bad today. I was exhausted today and I couldn't keep up with little Timmy. Sound familiar? Here's the deal. Over the next 30 days, you can binge watch a polygamist redneck tiger breeder blow up trees, maybe catch the latest dating reality guilty pleasure, or you can join me and my crew as we embark on a 30-day journey to actually lose the postpartum weight and train your body so that you can outrun, yes, even the fastest of toddlers. Want in? Send me a DM or drop a heck yes below. Okay, so obviously this one, I'm literally calling out toddler moms at the top, but I'm still gonna be giving the exact same thing at the end, right? They're still gonna be joining the same program, but we have to remember that we don't wanna give away the how in our posts. People don't care about how you're gonna help them. They just wanna know, can you get me a result? Can you get me a transformation? And so for the toddler mom, the transformation here is lose the postpartum weight and outrun even the fastest of toddlers. That's what is important to her right now. She's not wondering, how do I look on the bright side of things? I wonder how I can handle my mental limitations. Maybe she wants to connect with more people, but maybe that's not a top priority. So what is really causing her pain, and what is the problem that you are solving for her? And you want to clearly articulate that. And obviously, I'm sprinkling in a lot of my personality into this, but also really using a lot of things that are very relevant and really being able to speak to a lot of the stuff that's happening within the pandemic without being like, there's so much uncertainty in this moment right now. Like, I'm able to address it without harping on it, if that makes sense. And I've been talking to a lot of my clients and they've been saying like, oh, I don't want people, like, we get it, it's uncertain times, like, find a new way to frame this and like market to me. So I'm curious for you guys, like, kind of seeing the difference in speaking to your excitement, what you're excited. And listen, I remember chasing people down when I discovered Shakeology. Full on chasing people down because I was so excited about it. I was literally trying to host fit clubs at my house. Like, it was real. But I wasn't making sales because I wasn't speaking to their problem. They didn't care. They had no buy-in on why they should even listen to me. So kind of looking at this, do you guys have any specific questions? I know we've got like a couple more to go through, maybe 2 more. Cool. So this other one here is really, really important. And I know that Beachbody gives this to you. And I know that a lot of the top coaches still use this, even the people who are like making $1 gazillion. And so it can be easy to look at this and be like, oh, I should copy and paste that and use that as my like call to action for challenge groups. And like, yeah, will this work? It might. You'll probably get a few people who've been following you for a while, but I just want to show you another way in which you can position this. And it's interesting seeing the differences between like network marketing and people who are like online coaches or service-based entrepreneurs in the marketing space and the way in which they position things. I know this, especially in Beachbody, has become kind of like the way to talk about your challenge groups, right? Like, would you guys, I mean, maybe things have changed, but would you guys say that's true? Or yeah, this is like the main way. Okay, cool. So this is really speaking to the features. Features being the things that you're getting. 5 days a week workout program, 20 to 40 minute workouts, portion controlled containers, access to a group, one-on-one coaching. Those are the features. That's like saying you get this many probiotics, this many nutrients. Again, like I said, the company is giving you guys this information so that you understand what's actually inside the program, but that's not what's going to attract the customer to say, I need to join this. They have no interest or buy-in in this until they understand that you can solve their problem. And so, you know, she really spoke to anxiety in this. She was like, I know you've seen in my stories and wondered what the boxing training program is all about. We all have frustration and stress that we need to punch out. So why not use it to your favor to help get in the best shape of your life? So that was huge, like bringing that in, right? So I was like, well, let's elevate this more and really speak more to that anxiety. Like if that's your ideal client, let's really punctuate this. No pun intended. So I said, anxiety got you wanting to punch something? So hook question, girl, I have been there. For many years, I would toss and turn for hours at night, imagining all the worst case scenarios, feel my heart race, lose my breath, and had constant physical pain in my joints, experience emotional exhaustion mixed with jittery energy. And again, like I'm not being very specific in this because I wasn't totally sure like her ideal client and how much so I would get way more specific with these and in depth, but like a lot of this speaks to what people are experiencing right now with the pandemic of like not being able to sleep, right? And so I was looking at one of her other posts to kind of pull to figure out what her ideal client was and how we could frame this. And so she talked about how like medication didn't help, sessions with the therapist led to temporary relief. And then I put, if you're like, girl, you're describing my life, read on. So I'm telling them what to do. My unshakable anxiety did a complete 180 so I just talked about the pain that somebody's in, and now I'm talking, that's the problem, and now I'm talking about the solution or what's possible. When I found a workout routine that I could actually stick to, that reconnected me with my body, made small changes in my nutrition to eat fewer foods that made me feel bloated, lethargic, and honestly constipated, our gut and brain are so directly connected. And then this is, you guys might know that if I would you, framing, little sales psychology thing that I know a lot of people in Beachbody used to use. If I showed you how to begin alleviating your anxiety while also getting in amazing shape, would you be interested in joining me in a 30-day experience? Punch with our crew so you don't punch your spouse, right? So we're again, having fun. I like having fun with copy. That's my personal copywriting style. By the way, copy is a marketing term used to describe any content, sales pages, emails. So when you hear me say copy, you're like, what are you talking about? Copy and paste? No, like it's literally, I'm talking about the language that we're using. So yeah, I mean, for you guys, if you had anxiety, chances are, if you hear somebody like actually describing your experience, that's going to, just from a brain-based perspective, that's going to actually activate your brain. It's going to activate your senses. You, as you're reading this, you're imagining yourself tossing and turning, having the worst night's sleep and the worst dreams. You might actually feel your heart race as you read the words, feel my heart race, lose my breath. You might all of a sudden, when you say constant physical pain in my joints, you might actually be like, oh yeah, my neck hurts. And like on a subconscious, like hypnotic level, you might actually be experiencing those things as well. And so you're just creating a more full experience for your reader so that they can access emotional points that maybe they've kind of disconnected from while they're scrolling. All right, so again, the benefits, we want to tap into these benefits. These are the pain points. And then the benefits are really speaking to, like we were talking before in the other one, I think I did a better job of really speaking to those of like lose the postpartum weight and train your body so that you can outrun toddlers, right? That is a benefit. And that is speaking to the solution of the problem that they have. Okay, so then there's the last one here is being a little bit vague, a little bit general, big picture versus tapping into their desire. So of course there's some overlap in some of the things we're talking about, but here we have, do you ever question your worth? Do you ever feel not good enough? Do you ever wonder what your purpose is and if you really have one here on earth? Do you ever dream of a life that you aren't really sure you deserve, but you want so badly, right? So these are really good questions. But if somebody is just meeting you on social media, they might be like, what? These are some big questions that I can't answer right now. They're too big, right? And so again, let's pull in some of that visual or auditory language, or even some of that kinesthetic language. I said, do you ever look down at your stomach? And again, people are not laying in bed going, why don't I value my worth? They're like, why can't I be a size 2? Right? What is the actual thing that your ideal client is saying in her head? And so I said, do you ever look down at your stomach and compare it to the fitness influencer who had a baby last week and is already back to a size 2? Like, come on, body, you can do this. Or find yourself standing in front of the fridge again, wanting to soothe the stress of taking care of everybody around you, or see people outside running daily and think to yourself, wow, I could never be that committed. If you've been playing the I'll start tomorrow game for any length of time, you already know how frustrating it is to feel it feels to commit to something only to not follow through. The pain of experiencing that again is enough to want to hide out in sweatpants watching Tiger King until the fall. I get it because I've been where you've been. 3 years ago, I slipped on my stretchiest, oldest pair of granny panties, not because I was about to scrub the bathtub, but because they were the only ones left that fit. That was the humbling wake-up call and the day I stopped saying tomorrow. That was the moment I said, today I'm going to reach out to the coach I follow and actually get the guidance and support I know I need to lose the 30 pounds for good. Now this, by putting this in quotes, that's an embedded command. From a hypnosis standpoint, you're literally telling them what to do, but through your words. Since then, I've not only lost and kept off the 30 pounds and become a coach and legit runner, I feel proud of myself. If you've been waiting to kick the granny panties, if you've been waiting, for a sign to kick the granny panties, this was it. Send me a DM and let's chat to see if working together would be a perfect fit. Right? So with this, we're tapping into, again, their pain and their pleasure. What are their desires? Is it to be a certain size? Is it to not be emotional eating in front of the fridge? Is it to actually commit to being a runner or whatever that may be? Right? Because she was doing a lot of running in her post, so I figured we'd throw that in. So yeah, do you guys see how we can start utilizing a little bit more of the specificity? And again, in order, you guys see the difference in the before and after in these posts, right? The only way that we can get this specific and this clear is if we know who we're talking to. If I'm trying to speak to everybody, it's going to come out way more general. I know if you're in that place where you're like, I don't know what to post today, I don't know how to talk about this, it's because you're trying to work with 10 different people. And maybe you're even looking at the people who are currently in your challenge group, trying to like ask these questions, tapping into these pain points, and you're like, oh God, they're all over the place. You just got to pick one person. If you had 100, like think of somebody in your challenge group right now or on your team right now in your downline. Think of one person, be like, if I had 100 of that type of person, like, would that feel good? Or would you be like, oh, I don't want to work with that many people like that? Oh, and I have one more for you guys. Okay, so this last one is kind of this idea of like preaching or telling somebody like how they should think. And this one is really ninja. This is very nuanced though, versus actually shifting their belief. So we have here, if this ain't real prego life, I don't know what is. But seriously, if I didn't have a daily routine during quarantine, I would look like this 24/7. I'm so thankful for my girls in my accountability group. Y'all, they have been getting up at 7 a.m. with me every weekday to crush some serious workouts. Exercise is extremely important for physical health, but also for mental health. So she's telling us, she's teaching us, which is fine. Educational content can absolutely be an aspect of what you're doing, but let me explain more. She says, so this time is like no other, that I have seen so many, including myself, struggle with anxiety and depression. If you're feeling like you need a little routine, accountability, friendship during this tough time, come join us. We'd love to have you. And then she goes on to like send me a DM. So what I would say here is we've got to get clarity around what is the belief that this person she's trying to market to currently has, and what belief is she trying to shift them to. So the belief that this person currently has is, if I'm stuck home, then I can't work out, which means I'm going to gain more weight. Right? You guys probably saw when quarantine first happened, a lot of people like, oh my God, I can't go to the gym. I'm going to get so fat. Oh my God. Right? And you guys are like, why are you guys freaking out? We have Beachbody on demand. Like, you're going to be fine. But they truly believe this. Like, if I can't go outside and walk, or I can't go to the gym and lift weights, like, I'm going to gain weight. And so that's the belief they have. The belief you're trying to shift them to is, if I'm stuck home, then I can work out virtually, which means I'm going to lose weight or like get in shape or feel better. Right? But most of us, we don't see our beliefs as beliefs. We see them as facts. So they don't even know it's a belief. They're just like, well, this is a fact. This is a way of life. You have to go to the gym if you want to lose weight. So if that's somebody that you're trying to market to, you can't just tell them that exercise is important and you should work out from home. And I'll say, it was very hard to find a post where you guys were being like preachy or like teachy or telling or whatever on a soapbox, because you guys really don't do that. But I did really want to speak to this idea of shifting beliefs. And so what I said here is, being 30 weeks pregnant, I have the best excuse not to work out, kick my achy feet up and chow down on a carton of Ben & Jerry's Americone Dream. Now, most people might look at me and say, that's great that you're doing it, but I couldn't work out from home. So now I'm literally saying the exact belief without being like, I'm going to change your belief. I get it. Can I let you in on a secret? If I didn't have a trainer guiding me, music pumping, and a chocolate-friendly nutrition plan, and a group of amazing women holding me accountable, I probably wouldn't be able to learn I wouldn't have been able to learn how to work out from home either. So now you're like, listen, I've been in your shoes. I understand why you have that belief. You might be thinking, what if I don't feel ready? The truth is, we are never fully ready. Ready is an illusion. The real question to ask yourself is, are you committed? Committed so that you won't be dealing with joint pain from slouching on the couch or fearing the day when real pants have to go back on, right? So I don't even like, so again, using this, we're like trying to shift the way that they think so that they are seeing like, oh wait, she's having the success working out from home. She understands. And you can go on in this post, I didn't want to drag it out, but you can go on to really reinforce and talk about why working out from home like is so powerful and really making the case for that new belief. So yeah, I want to open it up for Q&A because I know we just went through like so much stuff and read through a lot. But I want to see if you guys have any specific questions pertaining to any of the stuff that we just kind of covered. And you guys can unmute too if you'd like. Kristen said, should you alternate storytelling / facts, different type of posts, or does it not matter? Yeah, definitely. So, I mean, there's some people who will do it, use their posts more so like a grid where they'll be like, this day I'm going to do motivation, this day I'm going to do this day I'm going to do that. You guys may feel like that is more appropriate for the way in which you are selling as a Beachbody coach. I know some coaches do teach where you kind of like focus more on selling challenge packs for, 1 month. And then the next month you kind of focus more on building your coach stuff and doing coach trainings. So, I mean, for me as a marketer, I'm always looking at things in seasons. So when I'm launching new products and programs, I'm looking at like my runway. So what's my on-ramp for people? Meaning, how am I warming them up and getting them nurtured, getting them to know who I am, getting them to understand. So I'm in the early section of my like runway for like, this is the beginning of my runway. We share lots of valuable content. I'm shifting beliefs. I'm having them get to know me. I'm sharing my story. I'm positioning my, program or product as the solution. And then I'm going into some kind of like launch experience. Maybe it's a 5-day challenge. Maybe it's a webinar. And then after that, then we open the cart and I'm bringing people in. And so there's a very specific process that I follow. I didn't like invent it. It's just kind of like the process of selling. If you watch QVC or, infomercials or anything like that, I mean, Beachbody is pretty much like ninja at the infomercial type of selling, but it follows a very similar psychology structure in terms of the way in which it's laid out. So for me, I would probably do a little bit more storytelling in the early part of warming people up. having them get to know me. So that's like building that trust. And then when we get into the actual like launch event, whether it be a 5-day challenge or webinar or something like that, then I'm really focusing more on helping them understand why they need this product or program, educating them on what it looks like, having them understand what's inside that product or program. And then once like the cart is open, once you're like, I'm accepting new people into this thing, I don't do any more teaching after that for that time period. When cart is open, it's all about Q&A and overcoming objections. So like if people are like, oh wait, but like, can you just tell me a little bit more about like what greens I should eat? It's like, that's a great question. That's exactly what we'll be covering inside the challenge group. I just redirect all their questions and I'm like, yeah, that is a great question. That's a great little framework. Yeah, I love that question. That's a really good one. What if per se you want to have your main customer be moms, but you have a few females who are interested in working with you? How do you make content that either A, relates to both, or you post a separate post to target each of them? So this is a good one. I mean, if you're marketing to moms, not every post is going to be like, hey moms, but if you are wanting, is it really that it's moms or not moms? So there might be some other layers underneath that of your ideal client that might not be a deal breaker.
For example, I had I mainly try to target to moms, but like today I had a married woman. She's interested. She's never had children, but somebody that I'm very close to recently asked them in front of me if they were pregnant. And of course it made them feel worse. And I was like, oh my God. So I was like, why don't you come and work out with me tomorrow? And I'll show you what it's like. You don't have to, buy anything. I just want to show you what this is like to hold you accountable since the gym is closed. Mm-hmm. So I want to target to both, but I know that I can't relate to her at the level that she's at right now. But at the same time, I know I can help her, if that makes sense.
Mm-hmm. Do you feel, so I guess this is where it comes into play. Like when because I think you guys will all have this question when you maybe have somebody reach out who's like not your specific ideal client. I want you guys to think of it not as like it's only this person. Think of it like a target, like a bullseye. Like your ideal person that you write down on paper, that's the core of your bullseye. If somebody falls like in the realm of that, you can make a decision if you feel like they are a right fit. But like, for example, if all of the content that you're posting in the challenge group every day is catered towards, toddler moms and like the specific things that they're working through and like how to get your workout in with kids, or like, here's a workout video of like, use your toddler for your workout. Like, then maybe if you're really going hard into that specific type of mom, then maybe she would feel like it wouldn't connect with her. But again, when you guys actually know somebody personally, it might be different. Like really all this niching down stuff is primarily for your marketing. Like I work with people who have in-person businesses as well, and they really struggle to niche down. Because they're like, I just was talking to a hairstylist today and she was like, but I get literally anyone and everyone in my chair. So like, how am I supposed to niche down on social media? And I was like, listen, I hear this from therapists that I've coached, or personal trainers who I've coached. They're like, I don't get to choose my client. They just kind of come to me. And so I think when you're looking at it that way, like, yeah, once you know somebody in person, if you feel like you can serve them, then absolutely bring them into the group. But if you're feeling like they're a vegan and you're not talking about vegan recipes and they're going to be asking you a million questions, and you are like, and you recognize that doing all of that research on vegan recipes is not going to be a good use of your time to try to figure out how to make the container system work, then in that sense, yeah, maybe it wouldn't be a good fit, and you would maybe want to refer them out to like the go-to coach who serves vegans. Does that help? Yeah, okay.
Yes, thank you.
Cool. Okay, so advice on how to overcome money objections. So I'm curious for you guys, what's like, when people are giving you money objections, what's the number one thing that they're saying? There's like, I can't afford it. It's too expensive.
Actually, kind of going back to that same person, her and another coworker said, well, I can't afford that right now. It's too expensive. And then today when she finally asked how much it cost, and I had shown her before, but somehow they figured out their gym membership, and then all of the different supplements that they ended up buying was way more expensive than what they would spend on a year of Beachbody On Demand.
Mm-hmm.
And she was like, oh, that's not too bad after all. So I don't understand why they see it when sometimes, but others they don't. But it seems to be the same objection I hear every time, that they can't afford it.
100%. Okay, let me give you this example. If I said to you guys, hey, I've got this program. It's going to help you grow your business. It's $300. Do you want to join? Now, pretend like you didn't really know me. You didn't just listen to this whole conversation tonight. Would you be like, what would be your first question? Or maybe you would have a question, be like, no, I don't want to just randomly give you $300. Price doesn't freaking matter. The Beachbody stuff could be $1,000. It could be $10. People are still going to give you objections if they don't understand how it's going to create a transformation. So there's going to be people who reach out to you when you create posts, especially if you're making the posts that are focusing on like 5 workouts, this many things, this container system. That's going to get people going, what does it cost? They're just going to slide into your DMs and ask you that. And then you're like, do I tell them the cost? So when I was a Beachbody coach, in the beginning, I mean, I was getting people who were like this was way before Beachbody On Demand, but I had people in my friend group who were finding the P90X videos online and burning them onto CDs and distributing them. And I was like, thanks everybody. Like, really, thanks for the support. And so I went from that in like 2011 to literally I was whatever it was, like a Success Club All-Star Legend, Success Club 10 All-Star, whatever. So like I was hitting all the top things because I completely shifted the way in which I marketed. And that's what I'm talking to you guys about. So just so you know, I'm not being like, oh, look what I did, but to be like, no, like I've literally done this in Beachbody as well. So it works regardless of industry. And so when you actually start speaking to the things that we just talked about in some of these posts, I guarantee you guys, because I've seen it happen with so many clients time after like showing all the people be like, oh my God, this works. People are in my inbox going, you're in my head. Where do I sign up? All of this stuff. When you're talking about the pain points of like, you're hiding behind the camera because your kids are making memories and you're not in them. That freaking cuts deep for somebody who's been experiencing that. You've tried every diet and you still avoid the mirror post shower. Now I know that's like a piece of copy that's a little played out, like it's been used a lot, but still works. Still, if that's what your ideal client's experiencing, like use something like that, right? So when you start speaking to these things and you're not focusing on, where is it? When you're not focusing on like the 5 days a week, this many workouts, like when you actually start speaking to the benefits, that alone is going to massively shift the objections that you're getting. Because that's actually what's causing the money objections, because people don't understand the transformation. So I can give you reframes all day of how to like shift the way in which you handle a money objection, but that's the source of it. When you nail that down, I mean, I would have people fully committed to a Beachbody program without even knowing what it was. I would just go, because I took the time. So this is what I would do. In my inbox, I would really spend the time asking so many questions. And today I would be jumping on the phone with somebody, but obviously for a lower ticket thing, maybe you're not jumping on the phone, but you can voice message back and forth. And you want to see if they can sit down for like 20 minutes and just voice message you back and forth in a container. Because every time you're asking a question, you're bringing up emotion. You're bringing up parts of the conversation. And if they're constantly getting distracted in the DMs and they're responding like over the period of a week, they're not connected to the experience of really feeling those questions in a container. But in a sales conversation, you're building. So you're asking, starting at the top, like, okay, what are some things that you're struggling with? What are you experiencing? They're giving you information and you're continuing to peel back layers, ask more questions. Have you worked with a coach before? What's your, what diets have you tried? What's worked, what doesn't work? And then you start getting into more of the emotional stuff. Like, what are some perceived limitations that you have around, moving through a program, or some fears or challenges that you might think are going to come up, right? You can start asking some more inner questions as you kind of build their trust. And really you're stacking that. And, when you get to that place with somebody, what I used to do in Beachbody is like, I'm like, okay, cool. Based on everything that you shared with me, this is exactly what my group is going to be coaching around. We're going to be doing this, 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 and this. And so I would recap everything that they shared. And then I would say, my groups are, you know, whatever it is, very high level, very tight knit. And so, you know, the commitment level is really high. And so I just, you know, before we move forward, I just need to know from you that you're 100% committed to this experience. They still don't know the price. They don't know what they're getting. They have no idea. We have not even talked about that. And people are like, yes, I'm 100% in. I'd be like, great. Let me send you over the details. So I'd send the details over. I'm like, what questions do you have for me? They're like, nope, no questions, I'm in. They wouldn't even ask what Shakeology was because they didn't give a crap, because they knew that I understood what they were struggling with and that I was in integrity because of how I showed up on social media, and that I was there to solve their problem, and that I actually took the time to ask the questions and listen. And so they're like, okay, well, she's the expert. She knows all this stuff about me now. If she's saying that 21-day fix is the best option for me, then I guess that's the best option for me. And, you know, there were some times where people would ask me, like, what is Shakeology? Or like, okay, what is the cost? I never answer when somebody says, what's the cost, without reframing it. So I say the investment is, because a lot of people are seeing it like, you know, getting a Beachbody On Demand membership or like getting Shakeology. It's not like, you know, buying a steak dinner where you eat it once and it's gone. That's a cost. An investment is something that allows you to expand and grow over time. And so, you know, even with my programs, I'm like, no, this is an investment. Like, if you're going to be able to have a certain transformation and result from this, it's not a cost, it's not a price, right? So we just kind of change that language around a little bit and reframe it. But yeah, I'm happy if you guys have any other like specific questions around that process. I'm super happy to share with you guys. But I mean, ultimately, when people would be like, yep, I'm in, I would say, okay, great, here's what you're going to get. And they're like, cool. I'm like, any questions? Like, nope, sounds great. I'm like, awesome. What's your email? Let me get you signed up. And I would put them in the, whatever they used to do, the Coach Mobile thing, and pop in their order and literally have them signed up within, you know, a couple of minutes. Or I would call them on the phone. That was before they had the Coach Mobile thing. I would get on the phone with every single person and actually like walk them through the entire process, or do it for them, because you used to have to take them through the website, and it was so like you could get lost. People would make the wrong orders all the time. It was a hot mess. So you guys have it super easy now, where you could just like pop in somebody's email and they could just click, you know, a couple buttons and they're good to go. You set it up for them. But yeah, I mean, if you guys have any other questions around that, happy to share. I know we went super long, so thanks guys for being here and like letting me just share with you guys. And also this week, actually on Wednesday and Thursday, I'm going to be hosting a workshop. So we're going to be talking about a lot of the things that we discussed tonight. There's been a tiny bit of overlap, but it's a 6-hour training. So we're going to be getting into a lot of other juicy stuff around really like clarifying and really digging into what your expertise is, so that you really can stand out as an authority, really doing a lot of deep work and really teaching you guys how to do market research so that you know that dream client inside and out. So like right now, you guys saw me doing the like post facelifts or post makeovers, and it's like, okay, but like, how do I do that for my posts? I don't even like know where to begin. Well, this, like, you need to do this work on really clarifying who your person is so that it does resonate with them. And we will be touching on story a bit as well, so that you guys can start really dialing that in and crafting that brand story. So if you're interested in that, I can put the link, or Stephanie, if you want to pop the link in the comments. Oh, cool. I'm glad you liked the specific breakdown. Yay, you're so cool.
Yeah, I'm getting it right now. 1 second.
Okay, cool.
That you sent me earlier.
Okay, so Katie said, I'm curious about hearing your suggestions on daily sharing of nutrition and fitness. Do you mean just like on Instagram stories or in your feed, or like where are you sharing daily stuff? Oh, you said another question. Do you recommend sharing daily updates on stories or only focusing on your feed? So, I mean, there can be some stuff that you are sharing on your feed if you feel like it is something that your audience really wants to hear. You know, always coming back to like, I think this is like a Beachbody thing actually, like the so what test. When you're posting something, you're going, so what? Like, what is, so what? Like, what is this? But really the so what test, like, what does this have to do with my client. And I've kind of expanded on that for you guys of like, what am I trying to get somebody to feel? What am I trying to get them to think? And what am I trying to get them to do? And so if you're just putting a post of something that you ate earlier, and you got to be careful with posting food pictures on the feed because they've got to look good. Like people posting pictures of the ground beef, it don't look cute. But if you're sharing like a recipe and that's like a key part of something that you really feel passionate about, go for it, right? If that's going to like get you, like if you're seeing a lot of people are saving recipes that you're sharing, or you're trying some new things. That didn't work for me because I was like, I eat the same thing every day. And I was like, I'm not available for sharing like food posts, but I like sharing the fitness stuff. So you can always just figure out like what feels most aligned to you. And yeah, I think getting creative and maybe even like start following, if you don't already, start following some people who are not Beachbody coaches, who are not only not in the fitness industry, but in like real estate, relationship coaching, manifestation coaching, because you guys got to cross-pollinate more. Like the Beachbody peeps, like I know for myself and a lot of the people that were on my team, like we came into Beachbody, it was like the first exposure that we ever had to business or personal development. And so we really stayed within our team. And I know Beachbody really curates a beautiful experience for you guys and like adds all these support tools. But the problem with that is when 400,000 coaches or more are all reading the same book, listening to the same calls, they're gonna, just by the fact that that's what they're consuming, they're going to have similar takeaways and, you know, be sharing similar stuff on social. So if you can begin to like integrate different podcasts or different books, or just follow people who are showing up and marketing themselves in a different way, it's going to generate and inspire different ideas for you. Like, do you guys know how real estate agents promote themselves on Instagram? Or YouTubers promote themselves? You guys are like, I don't follow any of them. Yeah. So maybe there's something in there that they're doing that hasn't made its way to the Beachbody like world yet. And people are like, girl, you coming up with all these ideas? And you're like, I'm just doing my homework. I'm just taking a look around. Yeah. So real estate people might, they teach others how to make money. I do follow one guy. Yeah. So even paying attention to like, okay, he's got a physical business and how is he, you know, maybe taking you around the house and showing you like the features of the house. And like, you know, they're going to have a totally different way that they're selling because they're in a different industry. But you know, is the real estate guy only talking about like, and the house is this many square feet, and it's, you know, it's got 2 bedrooms and a blah, blah, blah features, or is he speaking to the benefits? This would be a beautiful house for a family. Look at this amazing yard. Can't you imagine 2 kids playing right there? That'd be a great spot for a pool. Lots of summertime fun. You can build a nice deck so grandma and grandpa can be sitting under the, like, is this person creating the story and having that client buy into the story? Or are they just speaking to the features of the house? And so you guys can learn a lot and see a lot of things that are working and are not working in other industries. I love to do that and just really like see, like, cause there are new things that are like in these like coaching bubbles. It's so interesting. Like the fitness people do things this way. The Beachbody coaches do things this way. The life coaches, spiritual life coaches do things this way. Advocare, Beachbody, and Isagenix, they have totally different ways of growing their businesses. It is fascinating. Well, Advocare is not around anymore, but yeah. Okay, so wait, there's like 2 more questions. How do you handle when they are all in and they don't follow through with the purchase? So I think we need a little more context because there could be, you know, is this person on the call in the conversation with you saying I'm all in and then backing out, or they say I'm all in, you send them the thing to sign up and then they ghost you?
Send them all the information, answer all the questions about what they want to achieve, and kind of go through the questions that you walked us through as far as, you know, kind of recapping their commitment and what they're looking forward to and what has been kind of like their pain points in the past that they haven't followed through. And they're like, yeah, I'm all excited about this. I'm looking forward to working with you. And I say, okay, I'll send you the information so that you can sign up. I ask them, you know, with the share a cart feature that we have now, I try to ask them, okay, what kind of flavor Shakeology do you like? Or, well, you know, shakes, or what's your favorite flavor? And then say, okay, like me too, this is what I use. And then send them that specific product. And then I don't hear from them at all.
Okay. So like I'm like a detective, so I'm like, I can't say that it's one specific thing, because there could be multiple things depending on, they could be maybe not the right ideal client. It could be that they, you know, something happened at home, right? So it's like, if this is happening once or twice, I wouldn't freak out. But if it's happening on a chronic level where it's like all of your clients this is happening with, like, you know, 4 out of 5 people that you talk to are ghosting you, then yeah, it's probably something within the sales process. But even something like you were saying, you know, they say yes, like this, you recap it for them, and then you're saying, okay, let me send you the information. I would reframe anything that you guys can as questions. Now, I don't know if that's like normally how you do it, but because I think you're just kind of like explaining it. But for example, if you're like, okay, these are all the things that you do, what I like to say is like, okay, so it sounds like the things you're looking to work on are this, 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 and this. And I go through using their exact language, copy and paste it, or I take notes and I write it down and I mirror it back to them. And then I say, did I miss anything? Is there anything that I missed? And when they respond with, wow, nope, you nailed it, hole in one. Because you've just showed them all the things that they're struggling with. And you're like, that's everything that I'm going to help you with. And you have to bridge that gap for them, because that's really where a lot of people miss a step, where they're like, cool, so those are all the things you're working with. So you're ready to get signed up. You have to articulate to them, bridge that gap, and let them know, for me, everything that you shared, that's exactly what we're going to work on, or exactly what I'm going to teach you inside the program or inside the experience. And then they're like, oh, okay, cool. Like, it might seem obvious to you, but they don't know that, right? And then you say, could you just repeat what you said before, Alejandra? I was like, all right, I'll send you over the info or something, right?
Right. I asked them, you know, what their struggles had been in the past, why they hadn't been able to stick with a program, what their challenges were, what their goals were, and realistically how much time they could invest in themselves on a weekly basis.
Yep.
Then I asked.
And before you get their email, what was the thing that you were saying before?
After I was telling them, okay, well, I will send you, after they said yes, they were interested in having me as their coach. I said, okay, well, I'll send you a link so that you can get signed up with me.
Ooh, okay, so that was it. I was like, that can just be a question.
Okay.
And you could use the if I would you. Like, if I sent you the link to get signed up today, would you be committed to get enrolled like right now? And you could like frame that in a better way. Or like, great, would you like me to send you the link now so that we can get you signed up tonight?
Okay, thank you.
And then like, now you've got the buy-in, like you've got the permission from them. And I think that's one of the biggest things that people struggle with in the sales conversation, is they're just like, they're like, they don't want to be pushy, and so they're not sure how to get the person to say yes. But if you're just asking them questions, like literally my Beachbody script back in the day, it was like every single thing ended with a question. Probably annoyingly so, but when you're not on the phone with somebody, you can't hear their tonality. You lose so much of that communication. 93% of communication is nonverbal and is in like all the nuance of, you know, somebody's physicality or in their voice. And so when you're just responding back and forth with text, like you kind of need those questions just to make sure they're still with you. Yeah. And then when they say yes, when they're like, yes, I'm 100%, and it's like, great, let's get you signed up right now. Because a lot of people are like, okay, wait, did somebody just say yes to me? Dude, I don't have to do any more work. Like, we're good. I can like ask for their email now. Like, you know, so it's like, if they give me the yes, be like, great, what's your email? Let's get you signed up. What flavor do you want? Like, you don't need to like stretch it out or spend any more time. If they're in, they're in. And then if they ghost you, you know, I'm sure you guys have a follow-up process that you use. But yeah, I mean, I would just reach out to them and just, you know, not from a place of judgment, just validating like, hey, you know, I know when we spoke a couple days ago, you know, you mentioned this, this, and this. I just wanted to like swing back around, check in with you, see how you were doing, and see if there were any other questions that came up or if you needed any help, because I didn't see you pop up on my end. So just like keep it super casual. Yeah.
Awesome. Thank you.
You're welcome. Keelan said, at that point with the questions, some people are like, all you're doing is asking questions and not giving info. Yeah, so that type of person is probably not understanding the process. And so usually when people are like, yeah, but just like, I don't want you to ask me questions, just tell me what you're going to give me. I'm usually like, well, there's a couple of different options. And as a coach, it's my responsibility to understand your fitness level, your things that you like, your experience, what you're struggling with, in order for me to figure out the best program for you. And like, I do that with people who reach out to me for business, and I'm just like, well, They're like, what, do you have a program that would be good for me? I'm like, I don't freaking know. I don't know anything about you. Maybe I do, maybe I don't. Like, what are you struggling with? And they're like, oh, these 40,000 things. I'm like, all right, well, what's a main thing? And I'm like, all right, okay, they don't have a niche, so we got to start there. Like, this is probably, let me learn a little more about them. You know, have you done other programs before? And if somebody's like, yeah, I've taken like programs from this person, this person, this person, this person, and this person, I still haven't gotten a result. I'm like, this is not my client. Because I'm just like, okay, cool, you've got all these programs. What's prevented you from taking action in the past? Like, we got to get under the hood a little bit, because I'm like, I don't want to sell them another program they're not going to use, right? So like, I don't know. I just approach it from a very like no pressure like space, and I just feel like I've gotten to a place where I have a lot of integrity around it, where I'm like, I just want to get clear on whether or not they're the right fit, because I tell them up front, I'm like, you might not be the right fit, and they're like, what? I've never heard that sales conversation before. It's fine. Not everybody's a fit for each other. Kisha, is that how you pronounce your name? Kisha? What's the cool name? So how do you decline the ones that are not your client? I mean, I guess it depends on the situation, but yeah, I usually try to refer people out, or like, okay, I had one woman, it was like, I was doing it as a favor to a friend. It was this woman in her 40s who had like 140,000 people on her Instagram, and we run a business sales call, and she was an influencer, and only like every single post she made was like hashtag ad of like her in different clothing. And she was like a cute like 40-year-old woman or whatever. But then she wanted to write a book, and she wanted help launching her book around how to I don't know if it was her spouse, she was divorced, or her spouse died. I think it was that he died. And so she wanted to write a book about how to recover after grieving, like a how-to book. And she's like, I need help marketing it. Like, I have such a big following. Like, I'm going to get so many sales. And I was like, are people following you for that? And she like really thought she had it all figured out. And I was like, I don't think this is the right fit. That's not my area of expertise. I think you should go find somebody who helps you with book. I wanted to help her actually niche down and grow a following of people who would want to buy her book, but she was not interested in that. She thought she like knew it all. I was like, okay, have at it. So yeah, I like kindly told her that I just really did not see that it would be a good fit, and that it would be a disservice to her if I took her on as a client, and that I thought that she could really find somebody who is, you know, specializing more in what she was looking for. So yeah. And then, I mean, if it's somebody who you feel like has an attitude problem versus like they're a vegan and they want a lot of info about being vegan, and you like, I love meat, I don't know how to really help you convert these containers. It's like, you just like, you know, I actually have a friend who can, you know, support you with this. Or if somebody reaches out to me and is like, I really want to build an evergreen webinar. Do I have one? Yes. Could I teach somebody that? Yes. But I have 2 friends that have amazing programs that are already curated. And so it just makes more sense to like refer them out, and they refer people back to me. So yeah, I guess it just kind of depends. Yeah, and when we try to like take somebody in who like you just like know it's not the right person, they probably feel it too, but they probably may feel a little guilty saying no. And like, you guys just know. You just know when you take on a client and then you have that pit in your stomach, like, oh, they're gonna be a lot of work. They're gonna want a lot of hand holding. Why did I do this? Was it really worth the $50? Point the question, some people, oh, that was, yeah, cool. I think we hit all those questions. Are there specific hashtags we should focus on? So I'm not as big into the hashtags as some other people, but again, that kind of comes back to your ideal client. Like, what are the hashtags that they're actually following? And do they follow hashtags? Are they even on Instagram, right? Are they on Facebook? Are they on TikTok? Like, it depends on who you're trying to reach. I mean, for me, because I do work with some Beachbody coaches as clients, like I will hashtag for a lot of my content, hashtag Beachbody coach, because I'm getting in front of the person. But a lot of you guys probably don't even follow a Beachbody coach hashtag, but you're hashtagging it in your stuff. Right? So it's like, you've got to think about like, what are my people following? What are they actually hashtagging? And that, again, like really comes back to doing market research on whoever it is that you're wanting to serve. So if it's like toddler moms, like what Facebook groups are they in? What hashtags are they using? What books are they reading? What podcasts are they listening to? And again, with like hashtags, like you can test various things, like look at the hashtags, or even at like, once you know your ideal client, like ask them like, guys, what are the most, like the best hashtags to follow? What are the most inspirational ones? Like I follow like spiritual growth, and like, I don't know, I started following random ones after Stephanie and I came back from Namibia. I was like, you know what? I need some more positivity in my feed. I need some more woo stuff. So I started following all these like spiritual hashtags, and I never had followed hashtags before. I don't even think I like knew you could follow hashtags. But I think like people are, I don't know about you guys, but like I don't go in and search hashtags for information. I don't think I've ever done that. Have you guys ever done that? No? Maybe? Do you guys follow any hashtags? I follow like hashtag Beagle Puppies. What hashtags do you guys follow? Everyone's like, oh, I got hashtags that I follow. Okay, mom boss. You usually just follow the people, right? Mom probs. Okay, so like some humor. Yeah, so like if your post would make sense for hashtag mom probs, and that's something that your people actually follow, then yeah, you want to like insert yourself in their newsfeed. Moms who lift. Mm-hmm. Usually search a hashtag before travel. Like where you're going, like the actual location. So yeah, I think that there's like a lot of focus on hashtags, but again, I always come back to my own consumer behaviors, and I'm like, if I'm not doing it, my ideal client's probably not doing it either. And I'll check in with them. Like I'll throw hashtags up on my stuff. And there's like, you know, it's good to have some niche hashtags. Like when you guys go to Beachbody Summit, you better believe I'm hashtagging Beachbody Summit stuff because you guys might be following that to connect with other people. And I'm like, well, if I'm trying to get in front of Beachbody coaches, I'm going to be strategic about using a hashtag that everybody in the company is using, or going through the hashtag and like doing some market research. If you don't use hashtags for research, what do you suggest, or where do you suggest to research for your niche? Oh, that's like a whole other can of worms, whole other conversation. I'm like, we're already at 9:20. I mean, if you have an audience in front of you already, or I mean, one easy place is like if you have somebody that you follow who you know has like your ideal audience, like maybe some of you guys are like, oh my God, I want Rachel Hollis's audience, or I want Chalene Johnson's audience, or I want, I don't know, who's somebody who you look up to, who you're like, I would love to have their audience following me. Like look in their comment section. See what type of content they're posting. Like they're doing all the testing for you. Like back in the day, it was like, get Shape Magazine and see what Shape Magazine is using as their like headliners and titles. And, you know, that's hundreds of $1,000s worth of research to make a successful magazine. And they're going to make sure that, you know, the titles are catchy and that the topics are relevant to their audience. Well, now you have all these influencers right in front of you who are basically just it's all right in front of you. It's just a matter of sitting down and actually like studying it. Yeah. I feel like that's like the easiest way. I'm like, there's a million ways, but that's the easiest and fastest way. And you guys are already on Instagram, so.
So awesome, Jen. This has been beyond wonderful. Thank you. Thank you so much for giving us, you know, 2.5 hours of your time, and also to all of you for, you know, being committed enough, you know, being committed to really, you know, stay on for 2.5 hours. This is, you know, and clearly this is like business fundamentals. And I think this is the nice thing about calls like this, guys, is because, you know, the marketing and the niching down and the speaking to your niche, these are business fundamentals that are really important. And, you know, make sure, you know, investing in yourselves and things with like Jen's, you know, masterclass, you know, checking out some of her other items, you know, looking for, you know, doing personal development too around other books that are around maybe like, you know, building your story or writing your story, or, you know, storytelling, you know, things like that. are also really good as well that you can find. There's lots of resources out there, but this was really awesome. And I think we might have to get, Luke's like, we need to get her on another call, just like send a bunch of like Instagram people. Send her a bunch of like us and be like, can you digest? And we'll sit there and we'll be like, okay. Because it's not how we normally think, you know, you know how it is. Those of us who come into Beachbody, we don't have a background in business. And so, you know,
you're healers and coaches, you're not marketers.
Yeah, we're not marketers. We're not, you know, we're not salespeople, you know, and we're not used to that language. But it's interesting, guys, though, but once you start, you know, really doing even a little bit of basics in marketing, you know, basics in this, you start noticing it everywhere. Like I know Keisha's doing some getting some information about like advertising and doing a course in advertising, and it's just, and I'm doing an NLP training, and you know, Jen is NLP, and just learning all the different ways people learn, or, you know, I'm just like, oh my God. And I'm just like, this is what marketers are doing. The politicians are using, like everyone is using this. And
you're like, what's their secret? Oh, what's interesting too is like I was even just having a conversation with a friend of mine. We're in a high-level mastermind together, and this is a woman who's, you know, built a 7-figure business, and you know, she was really struggling with some of her marketing message, and we literally just sat down and started doing some ideal client work, and she was like, oh my God, she's like, Jen, this is like so embarrassing. She's like, I was just teaching my students about this last week, and I didn't realize how much I needed to come back and do this myself. She's like, because her offer changed, her messaging changed. She was like, so she used to work with direct sellers, then she moved away from it, and then she came back to it. And so for her, she was like, oh my God, like this is why things weren't landing. This is why things weren't resonating. And so it's like every single time I create a new product, program, service, or offer, I am coming back to these fundamentals and building this from the bottom up with all of this in mind. I'm doing the research before I create anything new. I'm asking my audience, like, what are you guys struggling with? And I know in my Facebook group, you know, we're getting a lot of new requests, and every freaking person is like, I need more clients, I need more sales, clients and sales, client attraction. How do I get more people? So I'm like, all right, we're going to do this like niche down workshop, not because it was on the top of my list, but because it's like that's what they need, right? That's like 99% of what they're asking for. So I'm just listening to them and giving them, like meeting them where they're at right now, especially like right now, so many new people are coming in the online space. I'm like, all right, we got to start with like the foundation. Like that's where we're at. So just a reminder, that doesn't matter if you're like day one or been in business for 10 years, like you will always come back to these things.
Yeah. And these are things, again, it can be taxing on our brains. So don't all of you, you know, I know for me, it's taxing my brain at times. No, not you, Jen. I'm just not you. You're taxing
that. Like my head hurts, but in a good way. Like, oh my goodness,
no, but even just thinking about branding, even thinking about your story, even thinking about your ideal avatar, you know, sitting down to doing the thinking behind it. You know, and so I just like to put that out there because, you know, I know sometimes we think it should be easy or it should just come naturally or it should, you know, but it's all something that we all literally need to be intentional about. And it takes, you know, the intention, the effort, and it can, you know, it's that day you're just like, ooh, I did a lot of work today. I thought a lot. And again, reaching out to experts, you know, like Jen and other, you know, who can really help you, you know, is really well worth the investment. So thank you.
Thank you guys. You guys are so much fun. Thank you for just being amazing.
Awesome. All right. Well, thank you. I will be sharing this recording in the team page. And thanks again, Jen. And all you ladies have an amazing evening. Bye.